Today's DealerOn webinar, Advanced Lead Handling Like a Rockstar. My name is Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by DealerOn. For anyone who isn't familiar with DealerOn, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency best known for our amazing SEO, the best customer service, and the highest converting website designs in the industry, including the award-winning Chameleon responsive website platform. After the last NADA, we were awarded the Driving Sales Dealer Satisfaction Award for top-rated websites for an unprecedented sixth. We were just awarded it for the 7th year in a row. Oh yeah, we also took home the AWA Award for Best Websites for a 3rd time. Plus, FCA and Ford have announced that we're now approved vendors. Big things are happening over here at DealerOn this year. We're still the only company in the industry that offers a money-back lead guarantee program. Do you want to know more? Yeah, you do. You can check us out at our gorgeous brand new DealerOn website at DealerOn.com. Hey, are you losing valuable traffic because of a slow mobile site? That's no good. Google estimates that well over half your website traffic is coming from mobile devices. But don't you worry, because DealerOn now offers a mobile site speed test for free. You can get yours after the webinar. Just give us your URL and let the magic begin. This is a great way to see how your site stacks up to the competition. We have a great show in store for you today. We have the one and only Bobbie Herron as our presenter today. Bobbie Herron is currently responsible for the creation and implementation of digital marketing strategies and conversion best practices for dealers at Zmont Drive, an exclusive automotive dealership operations, lead handling, and CRM consulting solution. Bobbie has spent over 16 years enjoying a diverse automotive career and various responsibilities within a retail dealership, including general manager, before becoming to Zmont. Bobbie now focuses her time on assisting dealers nationwide and increasing their ROI in every department through consulting efforts. She's a very popular presenter at numerous conferences, including Digital Dealer, Women in Automotive and Driving Sales, a guest lecturer at Northwood University, and a named winner of the 2015 Automotive News 40 Under 40. Bobbie can be reached at partnerwithbobbie@gmail.com. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, we're going to try to respond by email later today. And don't forget, a link to download a copy of this webinar recording will be emailed to you later today for your reference. Feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. And guess what? Our good friend Bobbie Herron, she's giving away a great prize in today's webinar. One of you lucky webinar attendees is going to win 1 month of complimentary virtual BDC consulting with Bobbie, which includes 1 2-hour launch call, a 1 hour per week of visual time, and 1 2-hour wrap-up call, departmental overview analysis, and a 2018 Strategic Improvement Action Plan. Whew! This incredible prize is valued at $5,000. Tremendous prize for you and your dealership. You have to be on the live broadcast to score this amazing giveaway, though, so stay tuned, and who knows, you might be the one walking away with this awesome prize today. Also, at the conclusion of this webinar, you're going to get a short survey, so fill it out. We're always looking for quality feedback from our audience. We want your opinion to be heard. And hey, do you tweet much? Oh, we hope you do. We'd love to see what you have to say about today's presentation, so please tag us in it. You can use hashtag DealerOnWebby. I'm at Eliana Raggio. You can also hit up Bobbie at Sign on the Line. We look forward to seeing what you're saying. All right, everyone, let's get started. Let's learn advanced lead handling like a rock star. Bobbie Herron, my favorite rock star. How are you?
I'm great, Eliana. Good morning.
Oh, hi. How are you doing? How about them birds? Did you see my Eagles win the Super Bowl?
I did, in fact, see that.
Enough about my awesome Eagles. We're here to talk about you and advanced lead handling. Now, last time you were here, now just so everyone knows, if you haven't seen Bobbie's 2 previous webinars, well, she did lead handling like a rock star. Then she did lead handling 2.0 like a rock star. Now we're into advanced lead handling like a rock star. So I'm just going to let you know, if some of this stuff seems over your head, what you're going to need to do is go back to DealerOn.com/webinar and do a search for those other 2, lead handling like a rockstar and lead handling like a rockstar 2.0, so that you can get caught up. Now, this is advanced lead handling like a rockstar. And I don't even know if I'm ready for all of this awesomeness, but Bobbie, I know you have a lot to tell people. So where do we go from here? Tell us what we're doing.
All right. Well, so when I really started thinking about this topic, and it's kind of been demanded, right? Every time after a webinar, we send out this survey. DealerOn does, the one that Aliana was just talking about, and ask for what you guys want to hear next and what questions you have. And every single time on social, in these surveys, it's demanded that I talk about quote unquote lead handling, right? So this time I thought to myself, advanced means something really different to one person than it does to another. And so what I did is, and you guys may have seen it on social, but what I did is I went out in the trenches, I went onto social, and I asked everybody, what does advanced mean to you, right? Does it mean a flip of a switch? Does it mean how we interact with a customer? And so what we're gonna do today is we're gonna answer the questions that you guys asked, right? And that means that we're gonna cover everything across the spectrum. And for some of you, you might look at it and go, some of these slides and some of these conversations and say, well, that seems really advanced. I hadn't thought of that. And some of you might say, that's something I'm already doing, but I need to update it. I need to change it. I need to advance it. What people really said was they wanted to have more in-depth conversations with customers and they wanted more people to respond. And so as we go through this, please put your questions in the sidebar. We're going to get to them at the end. And if for any reason we don't get to one, I'm going to get back with you, and you're welcome to contact me at any time. My information was in the beginning. It'll be at the end. You're welcome to tweet it out. But this is custom. It's custom to the questions that you guys ask that you deal with every single day. So Aliana, I'm super excited to share everything with everyone.
Let's do it.
All right. Okay, so per the normal, guys, this is going to be fast. There's a lot of information in here. I usually get really good feedback about, wow, thanks for stuffing so much in. I also get, oh my gosh, it was so fast. I am sorry, not sorry about that, because the BDC, the lead handling sections of our dealerships, unfortunately get the least amount of training. You get OEM training, which if you've done that on a visual slide, it's great, I guess, right? You get to once in a while go to a conference, maybe if you're lucky, you go like once a year or you attend something. There's not enough that goes into the people that are handling 90% of our advertising budget and all of our customers. And that, my friends, is why I do these webinars, is so that the people who raise their hand and want to be better than what they were yesterday, want to improve themselves, have a real opportunity to do it. So I'm going to stuff a lot in. I'm going to talk super fast. I have a client in Texas. Her name is Kara. I don't name my client, so I won't say who it is. But she was telling me on the last webinar that she watched it back on the playback and she slowed it down. So apparently that's a feature you can use on your computer. So just so you know. So today we're going to talk about the foundation up. To be really advanced, it's not just about how you have a conversation. It's about everything from the first layer all the way through to the end. So we're going to spend a little bit of time on staffing and scheduling, process getting personal. How do you create engagement through contact? A little bit about video and texting. We're going to give away a bomb ass giveaway, right? And then we're going to go through a question and answer session. Best part, guys, I'm going to give you my first responses and my after hours templates that I use. With a lot of my clients, I customize them after I have them. So if you're live on the webinar, you're going to be able to download it as a resource and then customize it to your store. I can't stress that to you enough. And that'll be in addition to the giveaway. So let's get rolling. Perception is reality. I talk about this on every webinar, no matter what, because people always say to me, you know, I have these leads. I had this lead come in. How do I handle this lead? That's your biggest problem. It's not a lead. It's a person. Leads are people too. You would not say things like, this person came into the showroom yesterday. This lead is in the showroom right now. You see that lead out there looking at the car? You see that lead over there? And because you think of it that way, or because your team thinks of it that way, or your managers, you think it's got to be immediate. Because we work in the today business, right? It's always about today. Today, I'm going to do this. How many cars did you sell today? As a matter of fact, when you start the first of the month, it's not today anymore. And you go from hero to zero or zero to hero all over again with a reset button. So the first thing I need you to do is check your mindset and please stop calling them leads. We're going to talk about that inside of this webinar. I'm going to use the word leads only because you guys do, but I want you to get out of the habit of it. The second thing I want you to do as we go through this is really open your mind. I'm not going to give you the think outside of the box and be in your magic zone thing, but what I am going to tell you is to pay attention outside of this industry. I want you to start thinking about this like a realtor does, right? Think about a realtor for a minute, Eliana. When was the last time you bought a house?
9 years ago.
All right, good. So when you bought your house, did you work with more than one realtor?
No.
So the realtor that you worked with, was it somebody you knew, somebody was referred to you, or the person selling the first house you looked at?
Somebody we knew.
right? And so when somebody buys a home,
I mean, we
typically
didn't
what
know them
happens,
that well. They're not like close friends, but it was somebody that
right?
we wanted to give it to. We wanted to give the money to somebody that we knew, that we liked, you know?
Absolutely. And so here's what happens. Realtors are genius about this. People will go out and hire a realtor because it's the first house they looked at or referred to them, and they have a sign in the front lawn. And then boom, we're working with this realtor. Now it doesn't matter if we buy a house that's listed by somebody else or not, we're still working with the same realtor. And people change that realtor when something happens that they're unhappy with, right? Or they completely switch states. Otherwise, they stay with the same one. As a matter of fact, they do all the work for the realtor. We go on to Zillow.com, we go on to Realtor.com, and we start sending this realtor all of the options that we want. We do most of the work in locating what we want by ourselves, and yet we still work with the same person. They're genius about it. But we are so caught up in our industry about not finding somebody a car they want if we don't have it in stock, right? It's the dealer trade shirt because that's normal. But if it's a pre-owned car, we do things like, yeah, we offer a buying service, and then we never call the customer back. We also say things internally like, well, I don't want to split the sale, or I'm not splitting that with John. That's not going to be a thing. And then what happens is the customer feels that, but realtors don't have that. So the first thing I'm going to tell you guys is get outside of your industry. Get onto internet lead webinars, on TED Talks that talk about how realtors handle leads. And the reason that I say that is the biggest thing is we are in the today business, but what realtors do that we don't is they look at a lead opportunity as either a prospect or a true lead. So if you think about the opportunities that come into your system, right, into your CRM, you look at it like, I got to get back quickly. You're absolutely right. The faster that you respond to somebody, the more likely you are to get them on the phone. You're actually 100 times more likely to have a conversation if it happens within 5 minutes, and you're 10 times more likely to be the dealer that they choose because you had the first opportunity to create a relationship. Unfortunately, we think, and a lot of OEMs teach, well, a lead is hot for 2 weeks. No, it's not hot for 2 weeks. What happens is, if you're Toyota, I'll pick on Toyota for a minute, but nothing against them. I'm just using them as an option because it's easy and I like Toyota. But you think they say, follow up hot for 2 weeks, follow up hot for 2 weeks. They say that because they don't really care if you're the dealership that sells the lead. They care if they are the brand that sells the lead, and they know that statistics say within 2 weeks, they're going to send it into somebody else, right? And now you've got another dealership following up, and that's what we call scalable. So the first thing that I want you guys to think of right before we go into this poll question is, when you have an opportunity that comes into your CRM, do you give up on it quickly because you think we're in the today business and we have to sell it today? Or do you take into account that the buying cycle for the majority of brands is 180 days? Are you looking at the opportunities that you have as a prospect, meaning you're going to nurture it until they're ready to buy? Or are you looking at it as a lead and giving up quickly? So the first thing I need to know before we go into this, and all of these poll questions are designed to help us throughout this presentation talk to you directly. So the first thing I need to know is, when a prospect comes in, when you're working with a customer, what CRM are you using? So Eliana, will you help us with this poll?
I hope so. Here we have 3 poll questions coming at you today, audience. First one's on the screen now. We just want to know, what CRM are you currently using? Please select one of the following answers. Are you using VIN Solutions, Dealer Socket, eLead One, iMagic, or something else that we didn't get listed? Once we get a majority of the votes in, we're going to close this poll and share the results. Oh man, Bobbie, today's audience is on it. Oh my gosh, these votes are coming in so fast, so fast. And we had a lot of people who wrote in to say hi to you, by the way. We just didn't get to any of the shout outs because I was droning on about something else. So thank you everyone for writing in, and we love you all, and thank you all so much for being here today. And don't forget to get your questions in for the great Bobbie Herron. Let's see if she can help you with some advanced lead handling situations. All right. I think we're ready. Oh my goodness, a lot of these votes are in, and not what I was expecting, but I like these votes. Audience, thank you so much. You guys rock. So let's close this poll and let's share these results and see if this helps you out, Bobbie. All right, so what CRM are you currently using? Well, 39%, so that's a majority, 39% of today's audience say they're using VIN Solutions right now. 12% of today's audience say Dealer Socket is their CRM. 18% of today's audience use eLead One. Only 2% of today's audience say that iMagic is what they have on their CRM. But another big section of today's audience, 30%, say they use something else entirely that's not listed here. Bobbie, I hope that helps you out.
Oh my gosh, it certainly does. So I work with clients, dealerships, vendors, partners that use all different CRMs. And the examples that I'm going to show you guys inside of here just happen to look like the VIN screen because the majority of my clients are on VIN. The reason that I asked that question though is because as we go through this, I want to be able to tell you guys right away what's inside of VIN and what you need to check with the CRM on so that you know, right? So let's get started. That helps me out a lot. The first thing I want to tell you is that you have to personalize your process, guys. If you are working with a CRM company right now that installed your CRM for you and did what I call plug and play, what they call a favor, they've put in templates and they've put in processes for you that are pretty standard, right? They're kind of like placeholders. So when you think of advanced and when you think of advancing the way that you handle a customer, what you're really trying to do is customize a conversation with the consumer that creates engagement. First of all, we just need to get them to respond to us because that's half the problem is getting them to even give us a chance, right? So when we talk about things like that, the first thing I want you to know is the small things matter. There's a difference in different internet types of leads, and we're going to talk about that and how you need to communicate with them in order to get their attention. If you're sending out a basic template that somebody put in for you, one, you're not showcasing your personality. And here's a little secret. People don't make appointments with dealerships because they have to. They don't have to. They can come in at any time. They make an appointment to come in because you're charming and charismatic and they want to work with you. And most of the time, when you set that appointment, you're going to have to hand it off. So you have to set that expectation, right? So the first thing is that your CRM setup, custom is key. Okay, plug and play, not okay. It's got to be customized. We're going to go into depth into what some of those things look like. And I'm happy to share my processes with you and show you what's going to happen with those and how you customize that. But you are doing yourself an injustice if you are letting the CRM dictate how you are going to create relationships with people. We are in the people business. The very first thing that you need to do is look at the processes in the back end of your CRM. And if you don't have access, get with somebody who does, call the CRM company and start to really personalize those conversations, because there's CRM companies out there that have automotive people on staff, a lot of them, but they aren't in your position. They haven't most of the time worked it and they don't know the roadblocks and challenges that you face inside of a store. So do it, use it for real, be like Nike. I love this saying from Nike. I'm a little obsessed with it right now, right? I want you to start to think of your CRM, and I won't go too much into this, but I did do a dealer webinar that's in the archives. If you go to DealerOn webinar archives, where Eliana was talking about the other webinars, that's about customizing your CRM. We won't spend a lot of time on this. I want to reference it though and let you know. Go back there, learn that stuff. Your CRM is your personal assistant and it's never been trained. What do I mean by that? It's your very best ROI on your employee, or it's a piece of technology. How do you view it, right? Have you trained it? Did you set everything up? Did you send that employee out for training so that they're doing everything that they're supposed to be doing? The answer is probably not. So view that CRM webinar, ask me any questions that you have on it, but that's the first layer in your foundation, is getting that set up properly so that it does create conversion. If you're fighting it on tasks, if you look at a task page or with DealerSocket, your to-dos for the day, and you think, oh my God, these are a chore, then you're not set up right, because they should be looked at as an opportunity, and that's not firing to you correctly, okay? So the second thing for your foundation is why choose you? Why buy? That's your message, right? You might not think a why buy is a very advanced thing, but joke's on you, it absolutely is. I can't stress this enough. Your building is not special. Nobody ever likes to hear me say that, but it's the truth. You have the same inventory as your competitor. You have, or the ability to get it. Same thing for a trade-in appraisal. It can be done anywhere, financing anywhere, right? Everything that you offer inside of that pretty building that you work in is the same as your competitor. So you have to know why to buy there. Here's a homework challenge. Go into your next sales meeting or go around and do a focus group and just ask everybody why they would buy from you. I guarantee that they'll say things to you like service after the sale. That's not a why buy, okay? I'm going to get service after the sale, whether I buy from you or not. I can use your service department. And really, what does that even mean anymore? Are you picking up my car? Are you just being nice to me? What's happening? We have the biggest inventory. No, you don't. Internet does. The digital age does. You don't have the biggest inventory. We're family owned. That's awesome. I fully support it. That's a why work for you. It's not a why buy for you, because if it was a why buy for you, from you, then we wouldn't have all these small businesses across the country and little towns going out of business. You wouldn't be choosing Target over the boutique shop that's downtown. People are selfish and they're narcissistic sometimes. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's true. That's not a why choose you. And if your team, BDC, salespeople, managers cannot tell a customer why they should choose you, how are they going to know to do it? Right? You send out a response to an internet customer and you send out things like, oh, thank you for inquiring on a vehicle online. When would you like to come in? I'm available tomorrow at 4. There's nothing in there that made you stand out. Every single template, every single signature line, every single conversation needs to tell a customer why you're the right choice, right? And here's the thing, don't go out and look at your competitor and go, well, we have a better proposition than them. Don't go out and look at your competitor and go, we beat our competitor. Good for you. That's a personal thing. But when you look at your competitor, are you really impressed with what they're doing? Because you have to stand out above and beyond that in order to be chosen. And if you're not sure what to say, here's your pro tip. Go to your online reviews and read what your customers are saying. They're telling you why they picked you. You're just not necessarily listening. Use that messaging, feature it everywhere, and utilize it to tell a customer why you are the advanced choice. This might seem simple to you. You might say, that doesn't seem very advanced. It's one of the questions that was posed over 36 times when I asked on social, how do we stand out from the competition? Here's your foundational start. That's where you begin, okay? The next thing is, I want you to think about, and this is a screenshot from VIN Solution, so you can check anywhere. This is in the lead performance report in the reporting section for the 39% of you that are there. And it's not what this is designed for. I'm a fan of workarounds that work, right? This is actually supposed to be for lead performance, but pop in there, change it to a type of internet, look at the last 90 days, and ask yourself, are you available when your customer is raising their hand? This lead shot screen is telling you when leads are coming in, when customers want an answer, and what day it's happening on, right? So are you scheduling your BDC or for those of you that are hybrid, are you scheduling it to match the open dealer hours? Because that's kind of old school, right? But maybe you don't know better. People always say, well, the BDC's got to be open from 8 to 7 because that's when the dealership's open. And when we come in, Bobbie, there's 30 leads in the bucket. And that's why I need all 6 of my people to be in the morning, or for some of you, all 1 of you to be in at 8 in the morning. You know why the bucket is full? Because the people who are wanting to hear from you are happening at night. Look at these numbers over here on the left. Okay, this is a breakdown of time. And this is from a dealership that's in a rural market. This is basically what I see in everyone that I look at. It's one of the first things I look at. 10.1% of our opportunities over a 90-day period came in from midnight to 5 a.m. But a staggering 26.3% came in from 6 p.m. to midnight. Are you in a dealership where your scheduled hours to contact these customers are during the day when it's convenient for you and for the dealership, or is it when it's convenient for the customer? If you're working in a store where you say, well, we're not allowed to call anybody after 8 p.m., I'm not really sure why you're still doing that. Because if I raise my hand at 10 p.m., I'm available. If you're not comfortable calling me at 10 p.m., that's okay. But I'll tell you what, if you send me an opportunity at 10 p.m. to talk to you, I'm calling you. So just know that going forward, right? I prefer text, that'll get you faster, but keep that in mind because 26.3% of people are saying, hey, I want help right now, and they're not getting it till the next morning. And we very selfishly, because it's always about us, we say things like, hi, my name is Bobbie in the beginning of a template. We talk like that, we staff like that, and we're losing as a result of it. And here's the thing, your competitor is probably not staffing to fit these leads either. So what an awesome game plan to be able to talk to them. Look at Sundays. If you're a dealership who's not open on Sundays, 10% of my opportunities, you don't have to be actively working prospects during this time that you're reaching out to. But what if you just answered them? How powerful if I pick up the phone and call a customer and say, hey, Oleana, it's Bobbie giving you a call from Herron Motors. Listen, it's Sunday. I'm at my son's baseball game, but I saw your question come through. I saw your information come through. I have just a couple moments. I want to make sure that when I come in tomorrow at 9 a.m., I answer any questions that you have. Are you going to be available at that time? I'm going to go right into setting an appointment right now for that call. Absolutely, hands down. Because I'm giving you something that my competitor isn't. I'm making myself available to you when you're ready, right? I'm also going to ask the customer right then, is there any questions you have I can answer for you now? All about doing something for helping another person is how you get people to choose you, right? That's a 5-minute call, and I set a call for the next morning. And I'll tell you what, I'm aggressive and ballsy, so I'll say something to the customer like, you know what, you're probably going to have about 10 dealers call you back and try to get your attention over the next day. I'll tell you what, would you remember that I picked up the phone and called you on a Sunday? Don't even take their calls, right? Customer laughs a little bit. Oh, ha, ha, ha. No, man, I want you to think about me like your realtor. And I'm going to go right into that. What is ghosting your staff? That's what ghosting is. You're not at the dealership, right? So if you have a dealer that doesn't want anybody in there when they're closed or anything like that, that's called ghosting. On a Sunday, I'm going to schedule somebody on my team for 4 hours on a Sunday during the busiest times that come in over the last 90 days to answer an opportunity when it comes in from wherever they are, right? From wherever they are. Logged into the chat program you have, if you have contact at once. I say contact at once because Auto Trader and Cars use that and allow you to be logged in, and your competitors aren't logged in and they don't offer a managed chat for that particular segment of business. So you could be killing it. And what does it take? 5 minutes. We work on commission, people. You don't want to work on a Sunday? That's cool. You don't want to answer opportunities when somebody isn't available? Also, fine. But assign them to somebody who's willing to, and don't miss an opportunity to engage when the customer is ready. All right. Next up, round robin versus the bucket. This is an advanced technique. Here's why. If you use VIN, it's called a round robin versus the bucket. If you use another CRM, it's called something differently, right? But basically what it means is, are you setting the customer up for what's best for you or for what's best for them? One of my biggest hot points that I'm always trying to help dealerships grow with is almost all of them that I walk in the first time are using a round robin. Why are they using a round robin? Because they think to themselves, well, the CRM set it up or I set it up. And what happens in a round robin, if for those of you who don't know, is basically I say I have 5 people on my team, an opportunity comes in and it's going to round robin between them and automatically assign. That's not a good plan, right? Get out of the fair business. Oh, it's fair to John and Alan and Margaret that the lead goes to them. No, it's not. It's not fair to the customer, because if I'm Margaret and I'm with a customer and I get assigned a lead, guess who doesn't get a response until I'm done with the customer? What if I'm at lunch? What if I'm doing something else? Get out of the fair business, get out of the selfish me business, and get into the customer experience business. Put it into a bucket. Have the leads funnel in and have everybody who has access to the bucket be able to grab one at any given time when they're available. Biggest objection I hear in a dealership, what if they grab 10 of them? Maybe manage your department, manage your people, punish them, give a consequence, set an expectation. A customer that comes in as a lead is the same person that walked into the showroom or made a phone call to us, and we wouldn't answer 2 phones at one time, right? You're not going to be like, hey, juggling them on there. You're not in the circus. You're not a juggler. Knock it off. Put it on to a bucket system and put the customer first. Give them a deliverable experience. What did we say in the beginning? Quick quality responses. All of you, if you're on this webinar looking at advanced items, already know that you need to answer quickly. And I know you can give me 50 reasons for why you can't. And believe me, I've been there. I do this all the time. I empathize with you. I understand. So set yourself up for success and set up your department to go into a bucket so that the customer experience is first. Stop looking at it as a lead. Start looking at it as a prospect and an opportunity, and get out of the today business when it comes to it, so that you can start that conversation off with the very best that you can offer, okay? Let's talk about internet qualifiers. What does that mean? That means that if you work in a store right now where you have a BDC that sets appointments for your salespeople, or you have a hybrid situation in your store, do not be afraid to take those opportunities away. And look, if you're a salesperson on the call, you hate me when I say that, but you shouldn't. Because the truth of the matter is that there are many people out there who do not want to answer internet opportunities, don't want the rejection of calling 500 times or sending an email 500 times or following up for 6 months or having to deal with a customer who says, I need this, and this, and boom, go. And it's so crazy to me that we don't want to, but that's okay. If you don't want to follow those policies, then these just aren't the right people for you. So put in internet qualifiers, things like who qualifies to take an internet opportunity, right? And use behavioral traits in your store, things that you're trying to fix, starting with the closing ratio of a customer, right? So we want to be at a very minimum of 50% on our floor as a closing ratio, but start low. If you have a sales consultant right now who's closing at a 25%, don't set them up for failure and say you can't take an opportunity unless you're at 50%. Instead say, based on you and what we're coaching you on and what we're teaching you and where we want you to be, 20% is the minimum, okay? 30% is the minimum, 35, 40. Go up in small chunks and set your teams up for a win, set your customers up for a win. Second thing you might think of in here, one of the biggest problems inside of a store, and this is going to seem simple, is actually using the CRM, right? How many of you have staff who don't use the CRM? They don't log a showroom visit. They don't put in any notes. They don't do any of these things. And then a BDC makes a customer service call the day after a showroom visit or right after to say, hey, my name's Bobbie. I'm giving you a call from Herron Motors. I'm calling because you visited our showroom yesterday, and we really pride ourselves in the customer experience here at Herron Motors. Would you mind giving me a couple minutes of your time to get some feedback on how your experience was? Customer's going to be like, oh, it's for me. Absolutely, I don't mind. Great. Well, first off, did you take your new car home today? Did you take your new car home yesterday? You already know that, or you should, or somebody didn't put it in the CRM. But that question is designed for control. See, we always say in our industry, oh, buyers aren't the same anymore. Oh, we don't have the same kind of control. Yes, we do. It just looks different. It just looks different. Old school charm is a true closing ability, right? You have to have done it to be a true closer for a long time, and you have to know these things from experience. But new school approaches are things like this. I know that there needs to be notes inside of the CRM so that when the BDC or when the follow-up person calls to see how that experience was, they're set up for success. When somebody in a department needs to jump in a deal and handle it, you don't need to chase people across the showroom for an hour, right? I don't need to call Paul at his desk, go to his office, chase him around, ask him 75 times, annoy him the whole time, and then wonder why he doesn't answer my calls anymore. And dude, it's not your fault. They're not putting the notes in. I get it, right? So make that a qualifier. Hey, here's the new thing. We have a closing ratio requirement. We have a lead note requirement. Anytime you have engagement with a customer, you have to put a note into the system. We're making it easy across the board. These things should touch 5 different things, right? When you think about notes, think about PhD as your note section, okay? This makes it really simple. So it's every time I engage with a customer, no matter what it is, showroom visit, anything, call, whatever, email, I'm gonna put in a note and I'm gonna follow a PhD philosophy. So P, it stands for personal. My customer, Travis, has a daughter named Molly. Molly plays soccer on Saturdays. I'm going to put that in the notes. Historical. Historically, this customer said that they trade in every 3 to 4 years and they do it at McLaren. Perfect. I'm going to put that in as a note. Deal. Where did I leave off in the deal? Did I give numbers? Did they talk to me about how many miles a year they need on the lease? Did they tell me that they have a certain payment goal? It's 3 sentences, guys, and it takes 2 minutes. When people think about putting notes in a CRM, they think it's super difficult or it's time consuming and they don't do it. So PhD, super simple, put it in. If you're using VIN on VIN Mobile, you can push a little microphone button and boom, you can talk your notes right into the system. You don't even have to type them, okay? I don't care about your spelling errors that happen in there. Your dealership might. Check with them and find out. Fix that problem that you're having. Next, are you delivering a VIP experience, right? Do we have a handoff problem where people aren't closing? And are we putting into place something like, when you come into the store, you're going to do this, this, and this. Make it a qualifier. That's the thing. Don't use more than 3 because behavioral changes are difficult, right? And we want to set everybody up for a win. And then on the first of every month, pull every single salesperson's stuff and see if they qualified for it. The ones who did, game on, rock on, you're doing awesome. The ones who didn't, here's your coaching opportunity to talk to them about what they should have done, because all of those things I just told you, they affect closing ratios. They affect customer engagement. Bottom line, they affect your ROI out of the gate. Correct the behavior and use this as a reward, right? And be able to have that conversation with them. And then on the 15th of the month, so we're going to take it away. So Travis is my salesperson today and he didn't qualify. And so I'm going to say to him, I'm really sorry, Travis, you made a choice, right? This is the difference in word tracks for people. They made a choice. You made a choice not to follow the expectation we set. You chose not to do it. And so now, as a result, you can't work them. Man, I wish you could. I was really rooting for you. I hope next time you get it. But on the 15th of the month, you can raise your hand and we'll check again. And if you qualify, great, you're back on. And if not, you don't. And then boom, it cycles all over on the 1st. This is coaching and performance, and it's a consequence versus a reward. It's all in how you state it to somebody. If I tell you, man, you didn't do your job, you're in trouble, that's a negative reaction. If I say to you, you made a choice, it's a positive one, okay? Let's talk about after hours. Since we talked a little bit about after hours templates, for crying out loud, get those crappy after hours things out of your systems that say things like, I'm sorry, we're closed right now. Yeah, obviously you're closed right now. It's 11 o'clock at night. I didn't really think that you were going to be open. And instead change the template over. I am not a fan of templates, but I do not think that when you take a word track and customize something that you use often that works, that it's still a template, okay? So take a look at this template right quick. We're going to go through these screens kind of fast, but I put them on the screen for you so you can print this out and take them. There's also a resource that's downloadable as well, right? But let's talk about what this does for a customer, because this creates a huge engagement. How do I know? I look inside of the CRM and I look at the subject line and the email template reports to see if this stuff actually works. It's not a guess. I'm not giving you my opinion. It's legit. Use it. right? Hey, customer, my name is so-and-so. I use CSI agent first name because that's a workaround in the VIN system. You could use whatever it is. And I'm the customer care manager. I'm not selling you anything. I'm taking care of you. See how it's all about you and not about me? Here at so-and-so, my team and I handle all of the requests for information in the internet department. You sent your information request in after our normal working hours. I'm letting you know that I'm not working, but that you still matter enough for me to answer you. But I saw it come through, so I wanted to send a quick email from home and let you know we'll contact you by phone as soon as we're back at the dealership. Setting an expectation. What do I end with? What time is best for us to reach out to you to cover any questions you have? And in the final statement, do you prefer communication by text, phone, or email? That's about you, so you're likely to answer it. I say in all of my webinars. Huh?
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know we had one of our viewers, Patrick, wrote in, and he says we have over 50% engagement just from this exact template alone. Hey.
Thank you, Patrick. So Patrick is my gentleman. That's the man in my life. So I'm glad to see that he's listening and working with his team on this. But here's the thing. You answer every single engagement with a question. Here's why. Eliana, I've put you through this before, but we're going to do it real quick. Eliana, do you like the color red?
It's my favorite color.
Mine too. Do you like the color blue?
Yeah, I like blue.
Do you think the sky is pretty?
Yes.
Would you eat a dead squirrel out of the middle of the road?
No.
That's a ridiculous question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know why you answered it?
Because it was a ridiculous question? What do you mean? Why I answered the questions?
The reason that you answered it is because your entire life people told you it was polite to answer questions. Your mom said things like, Eliana, I am talking to you, young lady. Did you just hear what I said? I asked you a question. Your teacher said, did you hear me ask you that question? Your boss says, did you hear that question? Your entire life you were told and enforced that you should answer questions when people ask them to you. So simple tip, think about it like a baseball game. We don't win games by hitting home runs. We win them by base hits. Here's one of them. End everything with a question. And after it, don't put thank you, I want your business. End it with a question. You'll get a bigger response. And everything needs to be about the customers, right? So pop that sucker in and I promise you, you'll see a result, okay? All right, ready, set, go. Let's talk about some basics real quick. We're not gonna drill into these too hard. I'm trying really hard to keep you guys on time today. A problem that I run into is I put so much in, we run late, and I am trying not to do that. So just a couple quick things on the basics because I wanna remind you, when an internet opportunity comes in, obviously you got to be quick, but it's got to be quality. It is less important to know the trim level on the car they asked about than it is to pick up the phone. You're not selling a car, people. You're selling you. That's what you're forgetting. Also, read the lead. When you look at the dashboard for the customer or the file, if the name is all in caps locks, change it, fix it. If you put together a beautiful template and send it out, you're going to look like an idiot, and the customer is going to know that you sent out a template. People don't care if they're buying a $3,000 car or a $100,000 one. They want to feel like they're important. So stop doing little things that do that. Look at the source. What's the source? Look at the questions. Check out the past lead files. Remember those notes we talked about, PhD? If a customer in the buying cycle, and you'll see this if you're a VIN customer, hottest leads you have, you probably think they're not, bad duplicates. Bad duplicates, my friend. You know what it shows you? In November, a lead came in December, in January, and they changed cars. Maybe they went from an 18 to a 17. Know why they did that? They had a little bit of a reality check on pricing, guys. They're getting lower in the buying cycle. And if you put in the notes as a PhD in every interaction before that, when I call you today, I remember that your daughter named Molly plays soccer on Saturdays, and I'm going to reference it on that phone call and say something to you like, hey, I'd love for you to come in. When's convenient? Last time we talked, you mentioned you had a daughter named Molly. She plays soccer on Saturdays. She says, you're not going to be able to come in. Is that still a thing? Customers like, oh my gosh, you remember my daughter Molly and that she played soccer. No, my friend, I told my personal assistant and came back to it. See how this all cycles together. Okay, those are the basics. All right, Eliana, we're going super fast, but we have another poll question.
Yes, we do. I'm so glad that you're rocking through this. This doesn't surprise me, though. All right, second poll question is on the screen now, everyone. We want to know, at your dealership, do you currently have custom processes for different lead sources set up? So we're talking about in the CRM, is that correct?
Yes, so like in your CRM, when you have an internet lead process, is it standard or is it set up for if it's a trade-in opportunity, if it's a credit application, if it was sent in by the OEM, if it was this, are you customizing the conversations that you're having? Is your CRM set up for that right now?
Okay, so that's what we're asking everyone. Please select one of the following answers. Is it yes, and it's working great for us? Yes, but we aren't consistently using them. The CRM company set them up for us, I think. Not yet, but you know what? We want to do that, and we're looking into it. Or, I didn't know I needed to do that. Once we get a majority of the votes in, we're going to close this poll and share the results, and then we'll all know how everyone is doing at their dealership and if they currently have custom processes set up for different lead sources. So get those votes in, everyone. Thank you so much. And by the way, Bobbie, we already have some great questions that have already come in from the audience, but hey, everyone out there in webinar land, if you have a great question that you'd like to ask Bobbie Herron, get those questions in. We're going to get to the Q&A session after her presentation and after the giveaway also, which, by the way, amazing giveaway. I'm really, really excited about it.
I'm so excited about it. I love to help people in these positions. And look, if you guys have a question, sometimes people tell me, they'll send me a question privately and they'll say, I didn't want to ask publicly. There is no question that I think is a bad question. I promise you, I'm not that person. I'm like Art Van. I'm like Planet Fitness. I'm a judgment-free zone. So just ask and I'm happy to answer it for you.
That's awesome. By the way, Joe wrote in, he says, our custom processes work great because Bobbie set them up for us.
Thank you.
Nice, Joe. Nice. Thank you so much.
Joe. I appreciate that. And I'm glad it's working for you. It's an advanced move.
All right, let's close this poll. Thank you, everyone, so much for the votes. Thank you. All right, let's see what everyone had to say. So the question was, at your dealership, do you currently have custom processes for different lead sources set up? The majority, 42% said yes, and it's working great for us. Awesome. 32% of today's audience followed up with yes, but they admit they're not consistently using them. Only 3% of today's audience said that the CRM company set them up for them, they think. 18% of today's audience said not yet, but they want to, and they're looking into it. And 4% of today's audience said they didn't even know that they needed to do that. Bobbie, look at that. 42% said yes, and another 32% said yes, but they're not using them consistently. That's a lot more than I thought it would be, and I am pleased with that. So thank you, everyone, for those votes.
Well, guys, that's great. The reason I asked this is so I know how much time to spend on this with you, but I'll tell you, I have been in 112 dealerships this year. 112. 2 of them had custom processes set up properly. That's not a judgment thing. It's that sometimes you might think you have a custom in there, or you might be choosing a custom, but you didn't set it up. It's not engaged by your personality or by type. And often what happens is you think that it's there, but it's not happening automatically. Inside of your CRM, if I am a trade buyer and I send in a trade-in lead, think KBB, Trade Exchange, if you're working with ZMOT and using their trade-in program, whomever you're using, does your CRM automatically funnel that customer into a bucket that says this is this customer that follows a set process and gives you a task for it to do based on that conversation that should be happening? That's the custom process, right? So I want you to think about for a minute these couple of things, because this is advanced and this is what will change things for you. I have clients who I've put in custom processes for. And when I say custom, I don't just mean I handed you an option. I mean it's customized to the floor. What are you actually doing in the store, right? Think about these for a minute. Chevy is a great example. They send in payoff request leads and customer and equity leads. Those are not sent in by the customer. They're sent in by the OEM. If it's falling into a standard bucket, you're sending out emails like, that's so great that you inquired on this vehicle, or I'm so glad you called us. And then you're going, why is there no engagement happening from this? Hey, my friend, they don't even know that it got sent into you. That conversation has to be customized on a payoff request. What are we trying to do with the customer? Let them know that as a convenience to you, the OEM, the financial company, gives you an opportunity to have a conversation because you're the best choice to be able to give them the best experience. Utilize that. Customer and equity. You can be doing equity mining, or Chevy, for example, sends you in a lease and equity or a retail and equity customer. You're not getting an engagement. Hey, the customer doesn't know that they're coming in. How do you talk to that customer? We need your trade. And listen, it's the truth. If you're not bought into a we need your trade conversation, shame on the dealership. One, it is extremely, significantly less expensive for us to acquire a piece of inventory from a customer than it is from an auction. It's also often in better shape. Auction cars sometimes sat on a lot for 90 days and didn't sell, and now they're at the auction. They're not always the best option. Not saying they're not a great one, just telling you it's better with a customer. If you don't have a pay plan in place for somebody to bring in a customer that will sell you a vehicle, shame on you. Get one, because you have opportunities coming in like this. Maybe you're a trade-in marketplace customer. Maybe you're, working the system for equity. You need to have that in place. And then the conversation that happens is we need your trade. And it is the truth. Look, there's been hurricanes and craziness across our country for the last year. So if the entire state of Texas flooded and all of their cars flooded, where do you think they're getting their inventory? From your state. What do you think that does? Drives up the prices. So you're not being dishonest with a customer when you say this is the right time to bring it in, because right now inventory is at a peak for pricing. It's not untrue. Don't be afraid of it. Is it a hand raiser leads? Eliana, I love hand raiser leads, and everybody hates them. They're like, this guy entered this contest because he wanted a t-shirt. Now I got to call him for 180 days. I want you to think about something for a second. Dealerships send out direct mail pieces and email equity pieces on lists that they buy of people who did not raise their hand, but they have a car in their garage that matches it. They matched all these little filters, and they spend all this money to send them out so that when they're ready, they choose them. That's a free hand raiser, guys. I'm not saying call them every day for 90 days or follow them for 180 days. I'm saying customize a conversation. Put them in your Ferris wheel. Get out of the today business. Stop trying to just sell cars today. You're going to still be selling cars next month. Why don't you work a little bit smarter, a little bit harder, and make that happen for you? If I load my Ferris wheel up with opportunities for customers that are going to buy 6 months from now, my month is double, and I'm doing the same thing. It takes 5 minutes. Stop looking at them as a bad thing. You're hurting yourself, I promise. For customer leads that they send in, do you know that the customer, are you looking at the source? Do you know what payment ad they came in off of? If they're a trade-in buyer, if they're coming in off of KBB, if they're coming in off of any of those things, are you customizing the conversation? Because if you're calling and you're saying something like, oh, hi, my name's Bobbie. I'm calling you from blah, blah, blah. You inquired about a Chevy online. Stop it. Stop it. The car that comes in with the customer is rarely the one they even end up buying. Look at your duplicate leads. I promise you, you'll see that the car changed 100 times. You don't even have to believe me. It lives inside of your CRM, right? So that customer comes in, right? People fear that all the time. Well, we don't have the car anymore, Bobbie. What do I do? Don't focus on the car. Focus on selling yourself. Focus on the trade. It's the easiest way to get people in. Then the next objection is, but they're going to ask for the price and we don't want to give it over the phone, or we're having to compete. Here's a secret. You're already competing. They already saw it. Just stop using workarounds and have real conversations. Don't be afraid to say to a buyer, oh, so-and-so down the street gave you a payment on that car, give you a trade-in value on the car. That's a shame. And then pause. Take control back. Well, what do you mean that's a shame? You seem like a really educated customer. You've done a lot of research. It's a shame that they would give you a number that they know could change when you come in. They know that could change based on what happens. Just tell them the truth, my friends. People will do what you ask them to do if you're confident when you ask them. That's why when you're on the lot and you start walking, they start following you. Boom. Because you asked them to do it. You said, oh, come along, my friend. We're walking away. Did they send in a finance application? If you are stuck in the mindset that a finance application means somebody has bad credit and that's why they're submitting it, you're crazy. They could be at 150 days of their buying cycle. You have no idea, and they could just be ready to roll. And that should be handled differently. I'm not going to follow up for 180 days with a finance application. It's a shorter buying cycle. I'm going to have that kind of conversation with them, and I'm going to find out what their next move is. And that is a hot lead. If you're a cherry picker, which I never encourage, duplicate leads, finance applications, customers on your showroom, hot leads, get on them, right? Let's talk about the first response. We'll be quick with this. The very first thing you should do, obviously, is a phone call. That's very basic, right? But what's happening on the phone call? In a lot of the social media requests, people said, should I leave a voicemail? Yeah, why not? I'm not big on voicemail. I'll tell you, if you call me and you leave me a voicemail, I don't even listen to it. I read it on my screen. That's how it goes now. You take that into account when you leave the voicemail, but you're already on the phone. So why not just leave one anyways? It takes 10 seconds. Plus, voicemail is practice for video. So that's great. If I get you on the phone, I'm actively listening. Stop listening to reply and start listening to listen. Just ask them what you want. Stop using words that are weak. Here's an example on the screen, but you can Google this anywhere and look at power words. Stop saying this. I don't care who taught you this. I don't care if you learned it from a company you spent 10 grand on. Don't ask somebody if this is a good time. Is this a good time? It's never a good time for somebody soliciting you to call you. Instead, say, do you have a few moments? See how one gives me an answer that will help me and one does not? And don't disclose the vehicle. When I call you, I'm not going to say, Eliana, you inquired about a Chevy online. Instead, I'm going to say, you inquired on a vehicle online, and I'm going to pause. I'm taking control. Think about it like sliding the paper over and waiting for them to answer first. Why don't I disclose the vehicle? Here's why. You're probably looking at 30. And if I'm trying to sell you a Chevy, even if it was an hour ago and you've already changed your mind or somebody's given you some information, you called another dealer and said, hey, is this payment still good? And they say, yeah, it's great, but you got to have, 2 Buicks in your driveway, an amputated arm and a red hat. Now they're going to shut you down. Nope, I don't need to talk to you anymore because I've already ruled out that Chevy. When you do that pause, let them tell you. They might say to you, well, I've actually looked at a couple online. Which one were you calling me about? Well, that's great. We probably offer all of them. What one has you most interested? Now I'm going to get the customer to tell me who I'm competing with, and I'm going to get them to tell me what other kind of car I can sell them, and I'm going to start a conversation that feels like it's just about them, okay? The next step, send your first response email, okay? If I talk to you on the phone, I'm not sending you a first response. I'm sending you a recap of our conversation, right? So some pro tips in this. Your dealership's not unique. We talked about that, right? Use a fun subject line. We're going to cover that in just a moment. Remember, it's not all about you, okay? Don't start things with, my name is Bobbie, and you can do that after you've established a relationship, but otherwise, think about a mobile phone. Is that when you check your email on a mobile phone and you see the first two lines, does my name is Bobbie give you a call to action? Probably not, although I think it's great. That's not a thing. Get personal, compliment them, recognize, obligate them to you, and give a next step. How many times do you get in the mail a letter from St. Jude's that has $1 in it that asks you to donate $1 back, right? Why do they do that? It's a washout. They do it to obligate you to the relationship. Watch your words. If you are using a template from a company that sells to your competitors, I'm not going to name the companies, but you know who they are. They're the training companies that come in, the OEM approved them. They're like, all dealers think, well, they're great. The OEM approved them. If they were great for your competitor too. And when they tell you to say things like, how many lease miles do you need in your first response? Or, what about the payment you're looking for? You're creating your own objection. Stay away from it. And manners matter. End with a question. That's what they were taught. Don't forget about that. Let's look at a couple examples real quick. I'm going to go through these quick in the effort of time, but print it out and be able to look at them. Here's the hand raiser, the black sheep of our family, right? And here's the thing. What am I saying to the customer? Welcome to our family. You recently submitted your information at an event. I'm going to notify them that I'm aware of that. Your contact information was sent from there over to us. Great news, you won. What did they win? Well, we think so. We've been assigned as your preferred dealership. I'm reaching out to welcome you and let you know that we look forward to working with you when the time comes to own your next vehicle. Are you interested in receiving information? Stop blowing up email boxes with things that people don't want. Also, most of you have recently experienced the issue with Yahoo where email leads aren't going in. We experienced this with AOL a couple of years ago and they ended up blacklisting it. You know why Yahoo has raised their hand and said that we can't send things out right now? Because you guys keep sending out a bunch of spam. You're sending out marketing stuff to people that don't matter. And I don't mean people that don't matter, but to people who that doesn't matter to. You're sending out vehicles to hand raisers and stuff. That's not what they're looking for. In the email companies, they don't make money off of that. So they don't care about our best practices. And when the email companies notice a majority of things happening where people didn't click through to anything, they didn't open it and read it, they didn't reply, they punish us. They're not your friend. So stop doing things to make them mad at you and don't do that anymore, right? The customer is clueless when an OEM sends it in. So here's an example for you guys. How do you talk to the customer, okay? This is a customer in equity. Great news, because of changing market conditions, we're expanding our pre-owned vehicle department. You can see that these ones are a little bit longer. I'm always about short and sweet, short, short, short. We live in a digital age where we consume data. We consume voicemails as a text on our phone, or we're gonna open it. We consume text in small bubbles. We consume Twitter in small characters. The best Facebook posts for algorithm are short. Keep it short and sweet and end with a question. But in this case, you need to explain to the customer while you're calling, right? Here's why it is. Our everyday low prices, a quick appraisal of your car. Go back and look at this when you have time, okay? The next one, we need your trade. We need your trade. This is a first response to we need your trade. I received your information from the trade appraisal tool that you used online to establish an initial vehicle value. See how I'm noting that it's an initial vehicle value without setting myself up for a word track failure where I have to give them more money if it's not worth that. Tools like that are convenient, but oftentimes they get used to get an idea of the vehicle's value, and it's often not what the customer is hoping for. I'm targeting the customer who's used a vehicle evaluator and decided based on the answer that they don't want to buy a car anymore because it wasn't enough. The system doesn't have the ability to take into account all of the factors we use when we actually appraise a vehicle at the dealership. I'm letting you know there's a reason for you to come in. Besides, as nice as it is to have an idea of what your vehicle may be worth, most customers tell us they'd prefer to have a real dollar amount. I'm letting you know, I'm referencing that you're an educated customer and letting you know that truly educated customers like real numbers and not pretend ones. You would need a reason to come in. Knowing what a dealership will actually purchase your vehicle for makes the buying shopping process that much easier and allows you to focus on the most important thing of all, finding your perfect vehicle, right? What am I doing there when I say that to the customer? I'm letting you know, again, I know that a trade-in buyer is lower funnel because you've already gotten all this research done. You've probably already gotten numbers from a dealership and now you're deciding what your trade-in is worth So you can see if that payment calculator you ran online 16 times that us dealers don't think you have access to, right? Don't tell them the numbers, they'll buy somewhere else. They're shopping you. They're already shopping you. I'm letting you know that I recognize that. I empathize with you. I'd like to talk to you about your trade. Not we need to, I would like to. The vehicles you're considering and any questions you have, what's the best number for me to reach you at? Next up, a standard lead. That's pretty much anything else. Follow this format for me. Scratch the rest of the templates that you have on responding to a customer and follow this format. Bobbie, first of all, great choice. Everybody likes to compliment, guys. Everybody. It's obvious you've done your research. Oh, you're educated? I love that. This vehicle, I'm going to reference it in here, and this is also to show you details, right? Has been extremely popular, which is why I want to go out onto the lot and actually put my hands on it. Why am I saying that? Because if I tell you something like, oh, that's a popular vehicle, we have 23 in stock. No urgency, guys. I want to let you know that other people want it too, because you know what people love? They love things that other people have. That's how our society works. It's extremely popular. Now I'm going to do you a favor. I don't want you to drive here and just not even know if it's here. So I'm going to go out on the lot and actually touch it. If you work in a BDC and you want people to stop coming in without setting an appointment with you, give them a reason not to. Do them a favor. I'm inserting the vehicle in the middle. Remember that an email best practice is to insert a vehicle on a first response. Remember that email companies hate it and they don't care about our best practices. So two things here, only put in vehicles, only put in pictures that give you an ROI. There's an ROI on this first one, so it's worth the risk, right? But you don't need to put in 17, put in a link. If I'm walking through Target and you sent me 17 vehicles, they're all images, they're not gonna load. I'm gonna get annoyed with the load time and I'm not gonna come back to your email. Same thing for Home Depot. Just think about that for a minute, right? Put it in the middle. When you put vehicles at the top, here's what happens at the top. Comes through on the email and says things like you see right here, continuously variable transactional. No call to action. Then below it, there's nothing worse than finding a great deal. I'm making sure I don't put a payment objection in here, and you know that you did a really good job. Customers like to win. Guys, they don't know what they should negotiate on a car. We just taught them as an industry that they believe the stereotype that we take advantage of them. So we need to reference that they're getting a great deal on the exact vehicle you want. You and I know they're probably going to change, but let's give them a compliment and tell them they did a good job. Then finding out it isn't available, again, don't just drive to the dealership. Unfortunately, the information you sent didn't come through with any questions. Most don't. Most don't. You know why? Because they're just seeing if the car is available and if you're lying on your ad. That's all they're trying to do, and that's why they didn't send you any questions. So address it like it was an accident and give them a chance to come clean. While I'm out there, do you have any other questions about pricing, options, or conditions I can check on for you? Again, I'm doing you a favor. If you customize all of your emails to follow this type of format, I promise you, you're going to win, okay? Sweat the details. Look, this car is not the same as it is here. You might think I would never do that. Maybe not true, and maybe your CRM did it, but it happens all the time, my friends. Sweat the details. All right, Elliot, we got another poll question. I'm trying to go so fast, guys.
No, I just love the way you put things. You're just awesome. All right, here we go. Last poll question, everyone. We want to know, does your store currently provide training to all of you over there that work at the store on how to turn a lead into a sale? Sounds pretty simple. Sounds like it's like the first answer. Hell yeah, we do. We wouldn't know what to do without it, you know? But we also have some other answers. We would love you to be honest. Does your store currently provide training to all the employees on how to turn a lead into a sale? Hell yeah, we wouldn't know what to do without it. Sometimes, but we admit it's not consistent. You know what? It's been a while. A really, really, really long while. Does self-training count or training? You're funny. No. So once we get a majority of the votes in, we're going to come to how'd I do? Is that how you wrote it?
That's exactly how, guys, as you answer this, here's the thing. I said at the beginning, I do these webinars, and there's no cost for these. I don't get paid to do these. I do these because I know that you don't get enough. I know that there's not enough people in your store who understand how to create engagement and then what the follow through is later. And so I really want to know, do you work in a store that's doing that for you? And if they're not, how can I help you do that? Whether it's sending you a webinar, whether you're going into the DealerOn webinar archives and watching them, how's that happening in your store? So I'm excited to see the results.
I think you're going to be surprised by these results. Audience, thank you so much for your votes. This really, really helps us get a handle on what kind of training happens inside of dealerships. So thank you so much. Let's close this poll. I'm going to thank the audience already for participating in all of our poll questions, and especially, of course, this last one as well. So here we go. Does your store currently provide training on how to turn a lead into a sale? As you'll see from this, Bobbie and everyone else, the answers are and there's no really one that's standing out a lot. It covers the board. You know what I mean? So we have answers of all of them. So 22% said, hell yeah, we wouldn't know what to do without it. That's great for you guys. 37% is the majority. 37 says sometimes, but not consistently. 12% said it's been a while, a really, really, really long while. 16% said, does self-training count? And 13% said training. You're funny. No. So I was surprised because I really thought that there'd be, like 60% of people are going to say one answer, but no, it's really across the board. And it just goes to show that a lot of dealerships do have sometimes this set it and forget it mentality with that 37% or that 12% that said it's been a while or that we don't do it consistently. And then we have a lot of dealers who just expect their salespeople just come in and know how the hell to do that, how to turn a lead into a sale.
You'd be shocked how often that happens, Eliana. I can even tell you on that first and second answer for you guys that are listening, and you don't need to tell me this, you can if you want to, but how many of you are being trained by an OEM approved company that came in, there's like 4 or 5 of them, gave you a bunch of templates, stood behind your shoulder, said stuff to you like, hey, put them on hold and say your manager is walking by right now. That's not customer experience training, and your competitor is doing the same thing. If that happened to you, scratch those templates and customize them right now. Otherwise, your competitor's sending out the same thing.
So what you're saying is that if the dealership has provided OEM training on how to turn a lead into a sale, that's not the same and it's not helping them?
Well, here's the thing. It'll give you a base level of foundation, but if you live in a place like I do in Michigan, there's a Buick store on every corner, 7 minutes apart, my friends, and they're getting the same training. So you're responding the same way and you're not setting yourself out from the crowd. But what I really mean is these companies that the OEM has approved that are non-OEM companies that come in and they give you scripts and templates and they stand behind your shoulder and they say it like this, say it like this. I am not taking away from what you are learning from that. I am just saying your competitor learned the exact same thing. So you got to get outside of the industry. Start watching TED Talks on realtors. Start watching, get onto HubSpot. I love HubSpot. They're a business-to-business CRM company, but they have an amazing blog. And you got to tweak it a little bit for business to customer, but they have amazing ideas that your competitors aren't paying attention to. All right. This is good information, Eliana.
Excellent stuff. All right, let's roll.
All right. So when you think about a lead in your system, do you think about it as follow-up? Because instead, what I want you to think about as nurturing. That's what they do outside of our industry. They nurture leads because they know they have a buying cycle, right? So if it's 180 days, am I following up or am I nurturing the customer so that they choose me? That's the kind of conversation that you want to be having with the consumer. Don't be afraid to ask what their buying cycle is. When you signed up for this webinar, I guarantee you answered a question at the very bottom before you hit register. I know because I register for these all the time and listen to the people in my industry and learn from them. They say things like, how long until you're in the market for a new website? Just ask the customer, right? Have a real conversation. The average buying experience sucks. It sucks. You think you don't want to call them? They don't want you to call them either. That's why they sent in an internet lead, so you couldn't sell them. So you got to nurture it so that you can, right? Workarounds don't work. Stop with the whole like use this instead of this and just ask the customer and control the situation and be specific on what you want. Give them a real call to action. Have a real conversation. On social, I grabbed some of the screenshots of conversations that were happening when I asked these questions to people on advanced. What do they want to see? And here's one of them. This is a great friend of mine, Veronica Dunford. She's in my tribe, one of my best friends. Bought a car recently. She works in automotive, had a terrible experience because everything to her was automated. She comes in the showroom, she gets an automated message because they didn't hit showroom visit that says like, hey, we're just still trying to get a hold of you and you didn't come in. You might not have control of that on your floor. So here's a simple tip. Switch it from being automated to firing to you as a task so you can decide if it still makes sense, right? Does it still make sense? Subject lines matter in an email, right? They do, they matter, but they don't matter as much as they used to because when I look at my email on my phone, which over 60% of your customers are doing, I'm reading the first 2 lines of the email. So look at that email statement. Is there a call to action, a reason to open it? And does it end with a question, right? Manners matter. We talked a little bit about what's a template, but let me talk to you a little bit about subject lines. These are some of my favorite. And they might seem a little edgy to you, but that's the thing. I'm a little edgy. My personality is a little sassy, okay? But the subject line is to get the customer to open the email along with those first 2 lines. The content in the CTA is to create an action from it. These are some subject lines that I use. They came from HubSpot originally. They're split A/B tested. They paid for all that for us. And I've put them into dealerships in different parts of days in different responses, and they work because I check them, right? Hey, I'm trying to get your attention. If at first you don't succeed, your vehicle is in demand. That's a why buy, guys. Call me maybe, right? It's so hard to say goodbye. That's what's called a breakup email. Happens at the end of the cycle. Why can't we be friends? I will not give up on us. That's persistence. Is it me? Is it you? This will only take 26 seconds. You might not think that's advanced. That is so advanced to get somebody to open it, because before you can get that customer to engage, to actually close them, to set an appointment, you have to get them to want to talk to you, my friends. Check it out on HubSpot. Let me know. I'll give you results from real stores that will show you that those are working. Okay. Here's this example of your email. First 2 lines. See how that matters? You're making a decision based on that. We're consuming data that way now. Let's talk a little bit about video and humanizing yourself. Elise Kephart is one of my favorite people in the whole world, and also brilliant when it comes to video. If you don't have video in your store, you should be signed up with BombBomb, but not BombBomb.com, because they charge you for all these different templates and things. But Elise doesn't. She also gives you templates, and it's not a plug for Elise. It's that I own BombBomb, and guess who I bought it from, right? I'm sending out video. Practice makes perfect. It humanizes you. It sets you apart from your competition. If you're not comfortable with video, that's okay. Get uncomfortable, right? Stop doing stuff for you and start doing it for your customer. Keep it short and simple. Introduce yourself, deliver the value, and ask for the call. You can make generic videos that live in a library that you don't have to make every time. You want to get salespeople to make videos? Create a rule in your store as an internet qualifier that every salesperson does a walk around on every piece of inventory that comes in. And as a reward, as a choice, if an opportunity is set on a car that you made a video for, you get the appointment. Create a reason for them to want to do it and get them to help you by doing that, right? Get uncomfortable. Tell them to practice. Pull up some Snapchat. Reference a new girlfriend. Whatever. Just do it. Texting. Let's talk about legal texting real quick. I'm going to give you the disclaimer up front. You have to text legally, right? I did a webinar on this. You can find it in the archives or on my YouTube channel, so I won't go too much into the legality of it, but you need to practice safe text. Don't get your dealership in trouble. You might think that conversion rate is really strong until there's a $5 million lawsuit and you're fired and that dealer tells everybody and it's a small business and then you don't get to work in it anymore. So consider that. But here's what I will tell you as an advanced notion. If you have opt-in in your CRM or with the product that you are using, put it everywhere. What do I mean by that? Put it in your signature line. Okay. How do you opt in? Put it in every email request. A customer walks into the showroom and signs a demo agreement or a buyer's order, or they're in service and they have an RO. Have the legal texting block of what you have to say there, have them sign off on it. Then you can manually opt them in. And you put it everywhere. The last time you walked into the mall or into a restaurant, think about the last time you saw a sign that said something like, text the word yes to 51409 and get 10% off. They're not trying to give you 10% off. They're opting you in. Get creative, learn from outside of our industry and get it done, and ask every single time. Every time I have somebody on the phone, I say, do you prefer text communication? Oh, I love to text. Great. Could you right now while we're on the phone text the word yes to this number, and that'll make it where I can talk to you. Oh man, I got to go through all that. Yeah, my friend, I'm sorry too. I don't like it either. But the TCPA says that it has to, and it's a lawsuit. It's a whole big jam. You might think to yourself, my neighbor's not going to sue me. No, but your neighbor's kid who checks the mail might think it's fun to be involved in something that pays them back $1 million when they read that fancy little card that's like, oh, did you do this? Just type yes on this website. All of a sudden, enough people do that, and your CRM is audited, and then they know. Right? Here's a day 3 email that I use for internet. I've been unable to reach you during my first and last attempts. I found that many of our customers prefer to text rather than communicate by phone or email. Boom, boom, boom. Text the word yes here. When's the best time? Am I replacing a car selling email with a text email? Yeah, you're damn straight I am. And you're probably have enough car emails going out that you're like, man, I don't know what to say to them anymore. This is a perfect one. Take a look at this signature line. Prefer to text? Big red letters, guys, grab their attention. Please opt in by texting yes to green, because everybody likes green. Green means go, red means stop. Remember that in marketing. Okay. I'm giving you my name. I'm a customer experience director. You're damn skippy I am, because in a customer experience director role, I can set you up to want to talk to me. I'm not selling you anything, but I am. I can set you up to answer my call when I call you after the showroom visit if you didn't buy, or if you did. And I'm giving you all that information, guys. Use that in your signature line inside of your CRM, and then every email that goes out asks for the option to text. Okay. All right, let's talk about a couple of overcoming obstacles that we have. These are some things that people really pointed out online, like 10, 15 people gave me as being a thing. First of all, get out of your own way. Sell yourself, not the car. And they aren't taking the bus, right? So when you say things like, oh, they're not a buyer, or they come in the showroom and you justify things like, well, they weren't going to buy. Like, it's just not a thing. That's not true. They didn't walk out of your dealership and get a bus pass. You just didn't close them. So instead of being weak about it and coming up with an excuse, admit to yourself what you did, hold yourself accountable to correct it, and don't do it again. Don't say things like to yourself, you're justifying bad behavior and you're not growing as a result of it. This is an email template, a form that comes into dealerships, and I get super passionate about this one because I have seen this be put in a group. It's a secret group, so I can't tell you about it. If you belong to it, you already know. And this is a form fill that people send in. You can get it on websites like I don't want the dealer to screw me.com, right? So before you say things about my swearing, that's the actual name of the website. And people fill this out because they don't want to deal with the dealer. But think about this for a minute. I've test driven this vehicle already, so I do not need to come in. I'm looking to buy in the next 2 weeks. I'm researching all dealerships in the state, and I will work with the dealership who gives me the best offer out the door. I'd like an out-the-door price on this model, availability on your lot, waiting time if you don't have it, and I also want to know how far over, under invoice you're quoting me. That way I can compare offers accurately. Please list out any dealer fees. Now, in this forum, and probably some of you listening, this kills me. Over 150 people, yeah, that customer is going to give a bad review and it's going to be a mini deal. Scratch that, I'm not answering it. That's a waste of my time. I really want to throttle people when they do this, and here's why. And there's not very often that I'm judgy, but like here's one of them. So try to fix this about you if this is happening to you or in your store, and create a new mindset, because this is the same customer that walked into the showroom, spent 3 hours test driving vehicles, spent another hour of your time with you, and then when it came down to the close, the 20% of the time that we spend with the customer during the close, where we make 100% of our money, they negotiated and possibly ended up walking out. And so when you look at this and you think, oh, that's a waste of my time, it's the same customer, but it's 10 minutes. You should send them a thank you in a video, requesting a text opt-in. This customer gave you everything that they needed to become a true customer before wasting any time in your showroom. And it shouldn't take you more than 15 minutes to write them numbers. And look at what they said. I've test driven the vehicle already. They already wasted somebody's 4 hours of time. I'm looking to buy in the next 2 weeks. I'm telling you when I'm buying. I'm telling you exactly how to sell me. I'm researching all dealerships in the state. You might say, oh, they're 2 hours away. I'm not going to get them anyways. So what was 15 minutes to try? I don't know who said it. It was a sports guy, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, guys. I'd like an offer out the door on the model, availability and waiting time. The customer's already being reasonable about the fact that you might not have the car. I also want to know how far over, under invoice. That's so that you can't say things later like, well, it wasn't apples to apples. They're asking so they can get a real idea. How dare you teach the people that are coming into your stores? How dare you as a manager? How dare you as somebody that is pretending to be a leader online tell somebody that they should just skip this? Shame on you. And if you're dealing with that in your store and you're hearing that in your store, but you don't believe it, shame on them. Answer this customer. The worst thing that happens is you don't sell them a car. And guys, it happens like 100 times a month. The best thing that happens is you get a real shot to do it. So please keep that in mind. Here's another one. This was a big one online too, overcoming obstacles. I talked about this in the last webinar. I'm interested in this vehicle. The listed price is $3,000 more than what I'm willing to pay. Are you able to meet my price point? A lot of reactions to this are like, oh, where'd they get that price? Oh, that's ridiculous. No, it can't get $3,000 off the car. Don't assume for the customer. You might be assuming that they want that car for $3,000 less, and then you justify it by saying things like that. But what if, hear me out here, the customer was at another dealership 3 weeks ago and the car was 15 grand and they told the customer they had a $300 payment, and now the customer thinks 15 grand equals $300. They have no idea that a term could be longer or shorter, or a rate could be different, or it could be the trade-in. Don't assume for them, just flat out ask them, right? We price our vehicles to market. We have hundreds of dollars in markup, not thousands, but I'm curious, Mr. Customer. Here's my why buy. Here's why you should choose me, blah, 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 blah. And then why did you offer 3 grand less? Do you believe that the car isn't worth it? Or is it that your price point is 3 grand? Is it that another dealership told you that the financing company would only let you finance 15 grand? Here's a secret. The customer doesn't know that the finance companies don't go by person, they go by structure. Structure, sure, your credit matters depending on the bank. But if it was structured wrong when finance sent it in, they might have told them they could only qualify for 15 grand. And now the customer thinks 15 grand is my max. And it might not have anything to do with what you think it does. Stop pushing them to the side. Okay. Let's talk about appointments real quick. And I'm going to try to go through this quickly due to time. But soft versus hard. Soft versus hard appointment. Soft means I'm coming in on Saturday, but I don't know what time. Hard means I'm coming in at 4. I put a rule into all my clients' dealerships that if you set a soft appointment, it is set for that day at 4 a.m. You tell me you're coming in at Saturday, it's set for 4 a.m. and during the confirmation process, The manager, whoever's confirming, turns it into a hard appointment so that my floor knows what's coming in for the day, because I know that it took 100 calls to get you on the phone, and I want to make sure that I get you in. So my finance department knows what could be happening. And boom, because it's a TO, guys, put it in. Then you can run a report at the end of the month and you can say, how many appointments were set for 4 a.m.? Obviously, we need to do coaching with our team on turning a soft appointment into a hard. Speaking of confirmations, who's confirming the appointment? The majority of the dealerships I work in, I come in, they either don't have a confirmation process or they're not using it often. If you have tricked yourself into thinking a confirmation appointment for a process is a reminder, you are dead wrong. Is it a reminder? Sure, but here's what it really is. If it's Monday and I set an appointment for you on Wednesday, if I don't confirm the appointment, I might not know that you're going to miss, right? But if I get on the phone with you, you might say something to me like, you know, I'm not going to make it in. I'm sorry. It's just not going to be a thing, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to ask you why. You might find out that yesterday on my way home from work, just for a quick second, just because I was curious, just wanted to know, I talked to another dealer and they gave me a trade-in appraisal over the phone or a number that was bad. And if you've ever listened to phone calls in a dealership, it's like a diet plan. It'll make you throw up. So do you really want to trust your competitor to walk into your showroom and sit down at your desk, because that's what you're virtually doing, and sideswipe your customer, all because you didn't want to make a confirmation call or you quote unquote didn't have time? You're uncovering the next layer of objections. Think about how many people you have to call or contact to get that appointment. A missed opportunity or a confirmation is your best chance to get it or reschedule it, or you got to make 100 more to get it again, guys. That's extremely important. What's a VIP process? This is a big one, so I want to focus on this for a second. I believe in a VIP process for a customer. NADA says one of the biggest things that customers have a problem with is where do they go when they come into a dealership? And I visit a lot of dealerships, so I can tell you it's a little confusing. So the first thing I'm going to do for a customer, when I set the appointment, right, as a BDC person, as a sales rep, I'm going to tell them who they're working with. Because remember what I said about round robin versus buckets? It's not about you. The BDC or whoever's setting the appointment should be pairing them with the customer with the salesperson who has the best chance of closing them based on personality, all kinds of different things. And at the end of the call, I'm going to tell them what to expect when they come in, who to work with, and a secondary person, right? So I work with John. He's a product specialist that I work with all the time. He's got a great personality. You're really going to love him. I'm not going to set up an expectation that you're going to work with me and then piss him off during the handoff, because I don't want somebody to come in with a bad mindset and then try to sell him a car. That's kind of stupid. Instead, I want to set up every expectation so that nothing is a disappointment, because then they're a higher close ratio, right? So you're going to work with this person just in case, Travis, just in case when you come in, John is unavailable. Margaret is also my partner and a product specialist, and you never know what could happen. Maybe somebody's sick, maybe something happens, maybe they're juggling. Don't say that. And so Margaret may also be the person that works with you when you come in. Set the expectation so they don't feel let down, okay? And when you come in, you're going to pull right into the dealership to the right, and you're going to see the car that you're looking at that we talked about. You're going to see a blank spot in the middle, and then you're going to see another car that I think, based on our conversation, might be a good fit for you. I'm going to have you just pull right into the middle of those two cars. They're going to be unlocked for you to take a look at, and John or Margaret are going to meet you out there. But if you're ready before they are, please feel free to come in. You're going to walk in the door. You're going to see Margaret on the left. You're going to be able to talk to her, or you're going to see June, our receptionist. You're going to talk to her, blah, 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 blah. Here's why I'm going there. You might say, I don't want to pull up cars. 1, you're making people feel special. Your competitor doesn't do that. Stand out from the crowd. 2, you just mentally set a mindset when the customer pulled in between those two cars that they own a new car. Think about this for a minute. Put a sign up or a reserve sign in it with their name on it. You walk into Sprint, your name is up for an appointment. You walk into anywhere, you have a name for an appointment. If my name is on the car I'm looking at, not only do I feel special, but I'm using an old school tactic of control. I'm setting you up for a mindset that that car belongs to you. The second car I pulled up there, one that'll fit what you want, but really what I want to sell you, the fit from this morning, the whatever it is. What's the next thing I'm doing? I'm isolating the car from the rest of the inventory. Old school tactic. You let somebody walk out onto a lot, they'll go to the most expensive car, and then you have to negotiate the least expensive pricing, and you just cut your commission and your gross. You don't have to be the lowest price. You just have to show the most value. Next thing I'm doing, devaluing your trade, my friends. I'm making you park the car that you don't want anymore, or decided you probably don't want, next to the brand new one or brand new pre-owned one that you were interested in. That whole package is how you control a sale. It's a handoff. And I'm setting that experience up when I set the appointment. When the manager confirms the appointment, they set the same experience up as a reminder. If they miss the appointment, for crying out loud, call them. Took you 100 calls to get there. The handoff, the new meet and greet, it's following through on the expectations. If I do all of those things and set the customer up for success and they show up at the dealership and it doesn't happen, boom, let down. You know what happens then? Closing rate drops. It's like turning the news on in your service drive and then wondering why people look unhappy. It's not a good plan. You're creating a mindset. Follow through on the expectation, or you will lose the closing rate, right? Have them go up. All right, Eliana?
No, we already did our 3 poll questions.
Why is it in here twice? Okay, good news. That just means that I was slacking on my slides, guys. So we're coming to the end here. Here's one thing that I want you to do as an advanced level thing. I want you to stop doing something to yourself. And I don't care who taught you it. I want you to stop saying things like, we had 500 leads and we sold 50 cars, so we're at 10%. No, you're not. If you really want to coach a team, you really want to make an improvement, you really want to use behavioral motivation, because really that's what's advanced, guys. That's taking something from a prospect or an opportunity into a real sale. You have to know what your metrics are, and there's 2 different buckets. If I had 100 opportunities come in and 50 of them responded to me or gave me a chance to have a conversation, they live on the left. If they never responded to me or had a conversation, they live on the right. These are the metrics that you need to know in your store to know how to improve. If you're sitting in a sales meeting and you're doing things like this, how many are you going to sell this month, Josh? I'm going to sell 12. That's great, Josh. Good job. That's a hope and pray plan. How are you even going to get Josh to 12? He sold 6 the last 4 months. And then you wonder why it's not happening. And anybody can be a leader in a store. Anybody, from the person who cleans the lot, to the person who leads the store, you can be a leader and you can coach your people. You're getting paid on their results, whether it's you or somebody else. Know where the result improvement needs to happen. If they didn't talk to you, how many engaged? How many people was it? Of those people, how many set an appointment? Now I know if I have a problem with getting people to answer, or if when I get on the phone, I'm giving either too much or not enough information, or shocker, not asking for the appointment. How many appointments were confirmed? That increases your showroom ratio. How many showed and how many sold? If you are trying to improve your process, your people or yourself based on some overall crap number about how you need a higher close ratio, you're on the hope and pray plan. You're guessing you have a closing problem. Those metrics right there will tell you exactly where you can fix something, so that when you ask Josh in the meeting, hey Josh, how many cars are you going to sell this month? 12. How are you going to get there? I'm going to call people. What kind of calls are you going to make? I'm going to make prospecting calls. How many? How many in a day? What are you going to say? And then set them up for success, right? Same thing with you never heard back from them. How many never engaged? How was it a problem with response time? Did your first email address the questions? Did you give up? Because only 10% of salespeople follow up past 3 days. Fact, didn't make it up. Totally true. How long did you continue for? Are you nurturing the opportunity? Are you filling your Ferris wheel, my friends? Are you making your job easier for you? All of these things, lots of information already running over. Do not hesitate to reach out on any question on them. And know that the reason I went over some of those topics that may seem simple to some and not to others is that everything that I just addressed had more than 12 people in a 24-hour period say that that's what they wanted the answer to. So I definitely hope it worked. But the bottom line is just make it easy for the customer. Make it an easy, amazing experience, and they will choose you and they will refer you, and you will continue to get that business. Oh my goodness. Okay, suggested resources. Obviously me. Like I mentioned that a couple times. Automotive BDC and Internet Sales Group on Facebook. If you don't belong, get your butt in there. She gives away free tips all the time. We all do. The collaboration is amazing. And the people that are in there, they're just like you. HubSpot, get out of your industry. Research the HubSpot blog. It's easiest just to Google HubSpot blog instead of typing it in for whatever reason. It's a 2 or a 3 minute read. It will take you outside of your industry and it will give you great ideas. Get with your CRM for support for your processes, break them down, build them up, and make it happen and hold them accountable. And then research realtors. Be more like a realtor, like hashtag be a realtor, okay? Use the tactics that they use. Obviously they work. You buy a house from them, whether they're the one selling it or not, and you stick with them, okay? Lastly, action items. Please review your lead hours, customize your processes, download the template resources that we've attached to this for you because they're my first responses and after hours, customize them. And join a virtual 20 group. What do I mean by that? Join a group on Facebook and surround yourself by brilliant people with great ideas who face the same roadblocks, challenges, and successes that you do every single day. Whew. All right, Aliana.
Whew, I'm exhausted listening to you.
I'm trying so hard to go so fast so it's not too long for people.
All right, audience, we already have some wonderful questions that came in from you. If you haven't gotten in your question yet for Bobbie, get that question in now. Let's get to those questions. And Bobbie, I'm going to ask you to keep your questions as quick and concise as possible because we are very, very over time. Now, before we go any further, I want to direct your attention over to the handout section. In there, we have 3 great handouts that are available until the end of this broadcast. So make sure you get into the handout section in your GoToWebinar interface and get those 3 handouts. One of them is Bobbie Herron's slide deck. And then there's another one about first responses for intranets, and that's a template. And then you have another one for after-hour responses for through the internet, and that's also a template. Bobbie, is there anything you want to say about those 2 handouts?
Yeah, please download them. I put them in Microsoft Word for you so that it would be easy so you can customize them. And they're all separated, you guessed it, by lead source type. So they're
it doesn't allow me to put Word documents. I actually had to make them into PDFs. Sorry.
Oh, no. Well, you know what? The good news is if you type it out, you're more likely to understand what it is instead of a copy and paste. It'll be formatted right. So that's okay.
Okay. All right. All right, everyone. So get those downloaded. If you have any problem whatsoever downloading those handouts, then email me directly at eliana@dealeron.com and I'll get those out to you. But they are available right now for immediate download. Okay. Hey, Bobbie, let's turn on our webcams.
All right.
All right. Time to give away a prize. If you were here at the beginning of the webinar, then you heard me announce that our good friend, Bobbie Herron, is giving away an amazing prize on today's webinar just for you. Oh, I'm going to tell you again what it is. One lucky webinar attendee is going to win 1 month of complimentary virtual BDC consulting with Bobbie Herron herself. This includes 1 2-hour launch call, 1 hour per week of virtual time with Bobbie, and 1 2-hour wrap-up call. Plus, she's going to do a departmental overview analysis and give you a 2018 strategic improvement action plan.
Yes,
People,
yes.
I'm not going to lie. This prize is awesome, and it is valued at $5,000. Tremendous prize for you and your dealership. All you have to do is be the first person who correctly answers our giveaway question. And just so you know, this is not an easy question, and it's 2 parts. 2 parts, people. So don't send me 1 part and then expect me to hunt and search for the other one because we have hundreds of people on here and everyone wants this prize. All right. So 2 answers on the same line, then push enter. Okay. Of course, if you're a vendor, you're not going to want this prize, right? I don't think you will. So please sit this one out. We always love having you vendors, but this prize is intended for dealership personnel only. All right, everyone. Good luck. Remember, 2 answers we're looking for. Okay, here we go. Earlier in the presentation, Bobbie talked about using PhD for logging notes in the CRM. First of all, what does PhD stand for? And give the example that Bobbie used for P. So hopefully you guys were listening to the example that she used for P. What does PhD stand for? And then what example did Bobbie use for P?
Like we need like a time ticker song.
Yeah, I know, like the Jeopardy theme song. I know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good news is everyone knows what PhD stands for, which is great.
Good job, you guys.
But I am looking. Oh, that's the one, unless somebody got it before her. Nope. Oh, so close. Let me ask you something.
Yes.
How specific do you want the answer to be? Specific like you told me, or kind of specific?
It's close to, kind of specific is first, as long as I got the printable element of it. You look so intent reading that screen right now.
I have to give it to this one because she got it exactly, and she was the first one who got it exactly, and no one got all the details that she did. So I got to give it to her because I don't see anyone else having. No, that's just, it's not close enough. It's not close enough. Okay, here we go. Alicia Burton, you are today's winner. Congratulations, Alicia.
Congratulations, Alicia.
Alicia Burton, yes. Okay, so PhD, of course, stands for Personal, Historical, and Deal. And then she wrote in Molly with her soccer and can't come in on Saturdays. Yes. Alicia, that was the answer that we were looking for. Thank you.
80% of decision makers are women. You know what we love? We love it when we remember our kids' names and what they're doing. Good job, Alicia.
Yeah, she was the only one who actually, well, other people wrote in Molly, but she was the first one to write in Molly, soccer, and Saturday. And that's really what we were looking for. So thank you so much. Alicia, congratulations. I believe you're a first-time DealerOn webinar winner. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then Alicia, I need to know what dealership you're from. So write on in and let me know so we can give you a proper congratulations. Yes, she is a first timer. That's great. Now, all of you out there, I know your name's not Alicia Burton. Mine's not either. But you know what? You could come back to another DealerOn webinar, and that could be your lucky day that you win a great prize on a DealerOn webinar. For right now, though, Alicia Burton is the big winner from Buick GMC in Beechwood, Ohio. Congratulations, Alicia.
Awesome.
You're going to be hearing. You're going to be hearing directly from Bobbie Herron about claiming that amazing prize. Congratulations, and we wish you the best of luck. All right, everyone. Now it's time for questions for the great Bobbie Herron. Are you ready, Bobbie? Wait. What is this I'm seeing on the screen? What is this?
Oh, this? The CEO of herself?
Yeah. Is there something you need to tell all of us?
There is something I would like to tell you guys. You guys are actually the first people to hear this news. It's going to be announced later very publicly, but effective March 1st of this year, I am transitioning out of my role as Zima as an amazing consultant and trainer into launching my very own company. So all of my clients will still be able to work with me. All of you will still be able to do it, but details will come before March 1st on the name and all that stuff. For now, you can hashtag partner with Bobbie now, and I'm insanely excited. I focus on CRMs, transitional behavior, leadership training, pretty much across the board after 17 years in the industry. If you're not familiar with me, check out my LinkedIn. Talks all about it. I won't waste your time with that. But I am, in fact, launching my own company, and you guys are the first people to know about it.
Honey, that's awesome.
Right?
People are already writing in congratulations, Bobbie Herron. That is amazing. Congratulations. I'm so excited for you. Oh my gosh, this is amazing news. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And thank you so much for telling our people first. I didn't even know about it. Bobbie, this is awesome. I'm so excited.
Right? So I appreciate that you guys spent an hour and a half and possibly up to 2 of your time off the floor today. And so I did want to tell you guys first. And the package that you're receiving for the winner, for you, Alicia, is through me, and it's through my company. And I'm super excited to tell you that you are the very first person that I'm hosting a contract for and helping with to give back to the people that have helped build me too. So I can't even handle my life right now.
Oh my gosh, that's
so pumped about it. It's been like incredible. Making, so.
Incredible. Alicia, wow, you won a big prize. And Bobbie, much success, my friend. I couldn't be happier for you. This is going to be amazing. All right. We got to get to these questions because there's so many questions. Okay. First question came in nice and early from Tanner. And Tanner's still on the call, by the way. Tanner says, what to do when you're the second dealership to contact a customer, not the first? How do you re-attract that customer to buy from you, to buy from your dealership?
Right, to choose you, right? So Tanner, I'll tell you, because I'm sassy and edgy, I do say things to customers like, nobody else is going to deliver you the experience that I will. Tanner, nobody likes buying a car. It's never fun. It's never friendly. They never enjoy it. You're going to enjoy it with me. You're going to enjoy it with my product specialist. And I truly want to earn your business. Why? Because I want to do this for you. Why don't you tell me what I need to do for you to make that happen? Give them a why buy statement. Don't be afraid to call them to the carpet and ask them not to talk to anybody else. They'll laugh, right? They'll be like, I can't believe you had the balls to do that. Heck yeah, I did. I really am the best choice. You should pick me, right? Make them a video. If you make a video, you will humanize yourself, because normally when they've talked to somebody else, either by email or phone, it's just a voice on the phone and a scary car person instead of somebody who's a real human being who I can work with. So video. Put the video in the email. If you're not using BombBomb, use it in the video, in the email, and humanize yourself and who you are. Don't be afraid to address the objection right up front. You know what the competitors are saying or what the main objections will be. In our industry, we have a fear of bringing up objections once we get somebody in person or on the phone, because we're like, oh, maybe they won't say it. They're going to say it or think it. That's why it's called common. So have the conversation right up front. Tell them what to expect in their experience and ask them for their business. Just ask. It's the simplest thing that we can do.
Tanner, great question. Thank you so much. I like that answer. All right, next question comes in from Daniel. Hi, Daniel. Daniel says, when I secret shop our stores and other stores, I always feel underwhelmed by live chats and after-hour online forms and third-party leads. Are there any case study dealer groups that do a great job? I'm in the minority, but I am pretty adamant that website live chats should answer questions and not just collect contact information. Who's doing a great job with live chat? Are you seeing after hours calls primarily go to voicemail, or are there outsourced call services that are worth looking into further? If you don't feel comfortable naming stores or groups, I totally understand. This is from Daniel.
I love that, Danielle. So there's a couple things I can answer live for you, but I will offer you a private conversation if you'd like to talk to me. My phone number is on the screen. Shoot me a text. We'll set something up so we can go super in depth on this, but you're absolutely right. So first, let's address the chat question. Chat is a huge opportunity to convert a customer online who doesn't want to pick up the phone and doesn't have the patience to send an email, right? Here's the two problems you have. Chat companies are not designed to answer questions. They're designed to get lead info because of the mindset in our business, right? So that you can quickly get onto the phone with them. Some of the best providers allow the customer to hit a button and turn into a phone call so that can happen immediately. The even better providers have video elements installed in them, right? So that they can have a conversation that way. The problem with bringing it in-house, and I'll be super honest with you here, is go back and listen to like the last 20 calls that came into your dealership, right? That type of conversation is what will happen on chat. Diet plan, no joke, right? It's not good. But if you have a team that's trained in engaging conversation and their skill set follows that, or you're hiring somebody to teach that, all day long do the chat in-house. Almost all of the providers will allow it. They just charge a different kind of fee for it, right? Because they know that your conversion will be less on grabbing the leads, and everybody holds them accountable for leads, so they have to do that. Chat is one of those things that you have to have. You have to give people who want to be anonymous an opportunity to have a conversation. If you've got a strong team, do it yourself. If not, and be honest with yourself about these results. If not, do not risk it. Look instead at click to phone calls and click to videos to be able to have those conversations. And when you build your process in your CRM and when you answer, address the fact that it was a chat customer and have that real open conversation with them. They are always the customer who didn't want to get sold on the phone, but didn't have the patience to send in an email. So they require an even faster response to convert. And I'm happy to share some stores that are killing it with you. But one of the services I offered at Zima and I will continue to offer for my clients is exclusivity. So I do have some that'll let me share it, but I can't tell you about it on the webinar. So text me, slammed all day today, but I'll get back to you tomorrow and we'll jump on a phone call and have a real conversation.
I think that's a great idea.
Love it.
Okay, next question comes in from Mark. By the way, thank you for the question, Daniel. Next question comes in from Mark. Mark says, is it effective to include best day or time blanks, possibly first, second best, in the form the customer completes?
To give the customer the chance to tell you when their best time is. First of all, Mark, brilliant. Somebody will steal that from you, I promise, unless you do it first. Yeah, it's a great idea, right? So if I give the customer an opportunity, see where most people in automotive do it is they do it on their website right now as when can you come in and not when can I call you. So I always say, ask for the preferred method of communication. If you tell me that your preferred method is phone, I'm not just going to call you, right? Many people say, just call them. I'm a little edgy like that, but I'm going to call you first. That's going to be my first method of trying to contact you. And I'm going to reference it in any other method that I tried that way. But why not throw it onto a form and ask them what time? Don't make it a requirement, but ask them. That's delivering an outstanding experience for the customer. And it doesn't cost anything to get with your lead providers or your website and get that changed. So do it up. Let's case study that. Great question and a great idea too.
I agree, Mark. Thank you so much. Great question. Okay, Chris, I don't know what this is in reference to, but I'm going to read your comment anyway. He said, do you do the bucket 24/7? Does that mean anything to you, Bobbie?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
So Chris, yes, bucket 24/7, because you can set up the rules inside of your CRM. You must already know this if you've asked this, but for everybody else, you can set up the rules inside of your CRM to say, do this during the day and do this at night. That's for us. That's not for the customer, right? And so if it says, well, I'm available until 10 o'clock, so put it into my name or use the bucket during that time, it doesn't matter if I'm only available till 10. If you drop everything into the bucket and then you only let the people in the bucket that hit their internet qualifiers, it's a one button click to change it, so it's super fast, then at any given point in the day, they can grab it. Here's the rule I give my staff, and it comes with a choice, consequence or reward. Anytime I'm training a store, you go into that bucket and you grab 10 internet opportunities and you don't answer them right away, you're disqualified from internet qualifiers for 2 weeks. I'm not messing around. When your kids come home, and I don't mean I'm serious. Like, I don't sugarcoat things, guys, but I do everything based on behavior, and I have proven results for this reason. I'm going to associate salespeople right now to children, but not because I think they're children, only because I think it makes it relatable. Okay. So if you come home late for curfew and I say, you're 15 minutes late for curfew, that better not happen again. And then tomorrow you come home late for curfew and I say, didn't we talk about this yesterday? And then on Thursday you come home late from curfew, and I'm so sick of talking to you as a mom. I have teenagers. So I'm so sick of talking to you about it that I'm just like, whatever, I'm over it. Guess who's coming home late for curfew next week, guys? My teenager, your salespeople. It's happening. Give them a choice that comes with a consequence or a reward. You do not grab people out of the bucket at random, because you can't answer 10 people at one time. It's a bad plan. So yes, all the time, every day, all day, be hustling, be using the bucket, and be setting it up that way with an expectation. Good question.
Great question. All right, let's keep going because we still have a number of questions still. All right, next one comes in from Chip. Chip says, is there one person getting all the leads? Should that one person start the contact process and then hand it out when they contact, or should you hand it out right away?
So I love this question. Here's why. You see my face? I have a terrible poker face. I'm not a good, so, okay. We do things in the dealership like have one person grab the leads and then hand them out. That's a workaround. Most dealerships did that because they didn't get people to answer quick enough. So instead of fixing the problem, isolating it with a real analysis and action plan, they created a workaround. Problem is, not good for the customer experience, right? Because the customer doesn't care about you. And, really, should they? Should they care that I'm the manager and I'm answering it and I'm going to hand it to somebody else? It is hard to get somebody on the phone. So when you get them on the phone, don't get them off. Have everybody answering it. It's the same thing for the handoff. If you have set up in your store right now, God love you. If you have this set up, when you come in, just ask for the manager, and the manager's gonna pass you over to somebody. That was a workaround to solve a problem instead of actually solving the problem. And what happens now is the customer comes in to talk to the manager and they're working a deal, or they didn't read the notes, or they didn't get a VIP experience process set up because they're managing a dealership. And now the customer has to go through the same thing again. Hi, my name's Bobbie. Here's what I'm doing. Bop, 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 bop. You're justifying why they didn't need an appointment. Then I'm going to hand them off to a salesperson who wasn't prepared for them, and they're going to say the same thing again. And customers don't want to repeat themselves 50 times. And really, should they have to? Instead, and I know why it happens, right? I get it. Instead, qualify a team of people, set an expectation for what they should do, teach them, train them. You don't have the ability to train them by sending them somewhere. There's loads of free webinars. I say DealerOn all the time, and not because I'm biased, because it's true. Get on there, play the recording in a meeting, pause it when you need to talk about something that's happening in your store, and spend the next 30 days building up the team so that you don't have workarounds. Be like Taylor Swift, dude. Band-Aids, they don't cover bullet holes, okay? You take the bullet out, assess it, sew it up, decide if the person needs some meds, and then fix that shit, okay? Yeah, so great question, and I feel you, my friend. You're welcome to reach out to me if you want to do like an in-depth conversation. Any of you are, right? I kind of slammed launching a new business and ending an old one and transitioning, but I will make time for you. Just send me a text, we'll get on the phone. And if you red dot my phone and I don't answer you, be aggressive, be like a cheerleader. Be aggressive and send me another text. I probably just missed it, okay? It's a little crazy this month in the beautiful chaos of my life.
Bobbie's the best. Definitely reach out if you can. All right, Chip, thank you so much for that question. All right, next one comes in from Danny. It's not a question. He says, it's obvious that you have some advanced users on this webinar, the ones that make the time to be the best. Thank you, Danny.
That's
I
right.
guess that means
Thank
you
you
too.
for joining us today. Thank you for taking time out. Eliana, real quick, I was a dealer, right? I've been in this industry for 17 years, and I spent more than 90% of my career as a leader in huge automotive groups, teaching and learning stuff like this. And one of the things I despised was when I attended a webinar, a session at a conference, and it was all about them, right? Just like our customer leads. I didn't learn anything from it. And so I've always committed to making sure that when you take an hour out of your day and you give it to me and you spend time with me, I want you to take a value from it. And that's why the survey that Eliana sends out at the end, seriously take it. Good, bad, or ugly. Be super honest. I told you I don't like Band-Aids. I want to always be delivering a value, and I'm committed to it because I had that experience, and I don't want that for you guys. So please fill out your survey so I know what to do better for you next time.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I hope everyone fills out the survey. Okay. Next question comes in from Megan. Megan says, sometimes people reply telling us that they prefer to use email. However, I find that I get the best information and build stronger relationships over the phone and can get them in for an appointment easier. What are your thoughts on getting rid of the question altogether? What method of contact do you prefer, phone, text, or email?
Yeah.
I feel like this goes back to video email, because if you're not having a good luck with just plain email, dude, you should be doing video email. Then you will rock it.
Yeah.
I think video email is even stronger sometimes than phone.
You just nailed that question. Good job, Eliana.
I was paying attention.
So the reason that you have to ask the question, and I know exactly what you're saying, right? I'd like to just shoot you a text because it's going to be way faster. We ask so that we can get them to engage in a conversation. All you're trying to do in your first couple emails is just get them to give you a chance to talk to them, right? So I feel you, my friend. Add a video to the email. Eliana is absolutely right. But also just explain to the customer a reason for why it makes more sense for them to do it another way, right? Most people give you an email because they, probably like you, have a junk email address that they don't really check, that everything kind of goes into, right? We set it up like 10 years ago. Now it's full of spam all the time. And they're not keeping track of it, but they do that because they don't want you to sell them a car. They're still in the research phase, or they don't want to be sold. Be honest with the customer, but give them a reason. Eliana, the questions that you asked, I could easily address for you by email, but it's going to take a couple times going back and forth for me to be able to do that. And it also takes a lot longer. Would you be opposed to having a 15-minute call where I can ask you the questions, address the answers for you? Also, usually the answers bring up more questions. I'd really like to do that. And I'll tell you what, Eliana, if you give me a couple minutes to answer those, I'm not going to call you like crazy every day. A lot of dealerships will. It won't be me. And then don't do it. And then ask them for the real email that they didn't give you so they actually see your responses. That's a great question. And definitely video email is going to be the way to go for you. If you don't have a BombBomb, it's not expensive to buy it for yourself. Just contact Elise. But here's the other thing. You can go old school. You can make a video on your cell phone. You can send it from the email on your cell phone. You can link it to YouTube. Like, don't let a roadblock stop you from growth. Just bulldoze through that door and do what works.
All right, let's get to some more of these questions because we're really over time. All right, Megan, thank you so much. Tony wrote in, he said, Bobbie, is there a way to make images in an email open? I find unless we are on a customer's approved list, images don't open.
Right? Isn't that frustrating? Especially if you're sending it to like an Outlook style email, it'll come up with the email, but not the image. So I like to attach images to email and put them inside, but the email providers prefer an email when you put an image in that has alt text on it, that has something happening inside of it that makes sense for them to have it. There's not a way you can force it through, but do a Google search for image changes for email to show up. There's a couple free generators online and programs where you can run the picture through. You have to get out of the CRM to do it. That's the only flaw to it. You can run the picture through, it'll change the coding, and it is in fact more likely to show up. The other thing you can do is in your third line of your email, not the first or second because you don't want it to come up, say there's an image in here that's super important for you to see. It answers your question. Please hit the accept button so that you can see it. Just ask the customer. It's not an easy answer, but there are programs out there for sure.
Okay. Great question, Tony. Thank you so much. Bobbie, you're doing great, but we still have a handful of questions to get through, okay? Next one comes actually from Bob. He says, can you slow down? You're speaking a little fast. You're talking a little too fast. You're hard to follow. It's too late now, girl. You've been doing this for an hour and a half now.
I am so sorry, Bob. And here's the thing, like there's a handful of about 10% of people who always say that after the webinars, and the other 90 are like, I needed it. So I'll tell you what, when you go back to the webinar to watch it, there is a slow down button on it. You can slow it down. Also, you can call me. I'll give you a private webinar that's a little bit slower because one of the things I get is that they go too long and I have to put so much in them. So I'm super sorry. I talk fast naturally anyways.
I know. I already apologized to Bob for yours. It's okay.
Webinar, Bob. Like, for real, I don't mind. We can have a conversation.
All right, here we go. Next question. Okay, Danny wrote in, Bobbie, the biggest challenge I have with the lead bucket is keeping salespeople from cherry picking the leads. What's your advice?
So one of the things, remember when I said qualifiers should be based on behaviors that you're trying to fix? That's one of them. Subset out one of the qualifiers that you have to pick the oldest lead that's in the bucket. There's no option for it. And if you pick it, you make the call, send the email, you could pick the next one too. So if you want to cherry pick, you got to do it in order and prove it. And then at the end of the month, when you're checking your qualifiers, just spot check each salesperson for like 3 or 4 to see if it's happening. I know it's not a perfect answer. It's the biggest objection that we hear, but that objection isn't as strong as the lack of sales and the quick time of the response. So make it a qualifier and spot check it. Change that behavior with a choice.
Okay, Danny, thank you so much. Great question. Okay, let's see. Wendy wrote in. She says, fantastic webinar. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, Wendy.
Sarah wrote in, this is probably the best webinar ever. Love, love, love the real life words. This is real. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank
We
you,
love
Sarah.
that. Okay, last two questions and then we'll start closing out the show.
All
Michael's putting you out with Elise here. He says, hey, Bobbie, Elise starts with her name when calling, unless that's just in the video. I'll have to go back and check. But Bobbie, you said not to start off with your name. What's the deal?
So let me give you the real deal on it, because I love that you asked that question. Across the industry, there are amazing people that will teach you. Always remember this. It's not right or wrong. It's just different. I don't believe in leading with the name. On a phone call, I'll introduce myself to you, but in an email, I'm not going to start it with that, because I have 13 seconds to grab your attention, and I'm not going to use that to tell you my name because you don't care, right? So Elise's way isn't wrong. It's just different than mine. And to be perfectly honest, anytime you're listening to a consultant, a trainer, anybody in this industry, take the best parts of it, put them into practice, and then A/B test it by looking at your results, because what works for one of us doesn't always work for the other, right? So great question, great call out. I love it. And I have mad respect for Elise's processes, because they work, my friend. And so do mine. If you pair them together, you'll be a freaking superstar.
Okay, so, Michael does have a follow-up question though. Okay. He says, I've been considering putting my photo in the signature area of my email. Is her response to the picture the same to me putting it in? I'm from Cherry Hill, by the way. Fly Eagles fly.
Yeah, so Michael, here's the thing, right? If you're not using video, you have to humanize yourself somehow, and putting an image in the signature line. Remember when I said only do it if it's worth the risk? Worth the risk to make you a human, so you have to. If you're using video the right way, take it out. It is likely to get you sent to spam more often, because think about like this with the email companies. Like, Hotmail doesn't make any money on advertising when we use it. It's supposed to be used between family and friends. And when you send your mom an email, do you put an image in or do you attach it? Do you put an image in a signature block? No. And that's one of the ways that they know that. So if you're not using video and you need to humanize yourself, absolutely put it in. If you're using video, take it out, because you don't need to duplicate it.
Okay, because Michael did follow up with, he does have Bomb Bomb from Elise. And he says, thank you for the excellent webinar. Yeah. I would have to agree.
Bounce that photo out. You don't need it.
Okay, good. All right, couple more things. I'm sorry, more questions came in. So, okay.
Oh, for sure.
Leah, I know you've been waiting a while, my friend. Leah says, I experience a lot of objections from customers who are not willing to come into the dealership and who have a lot of pricing objections or are refusing to even conversate over the phone at all. Who are what part of the country are you from, Leah? Okay.
Everywhere.
So what are the best responses and processes for these tricky types of customers?
Yeah. So Leah, and I'm picking on this process, but it's not you. Please remember that. So is that about you or is it about the customer? We always want the customer to come into the dealership because we want them to come in, because we want to sell them a car, because we know how to control a situation when somebody is in front of us. And it's a lost art controlling things when somebody is not in front of you. And that's why the customer doesn't want to come in, right? And I bet you go to the desk and I guarantee they say things like, just get them in, or what do you mean they won't come in? Get a better price when you come in, which is such bullshit. You not get a better price when you come in. That's some stuff that we say. I know, I can't help it, because it's what Leah's experiencing happens everywhere. And it's the biggest objection that they face in BDCs. And the desk doesn't help them, because they reinforce what they're supposed to be doing old school. Instead, remember that the customer doesn't want to talk to you because they don't want to be sold and they don't want to come in, and that's okay. They're a prospect that needs to be nurtured, right? That's why they only want to work by email. Add a video if you can, so you're human, so they want to talk to you. If you don't have the option to add a video, directly be honest with the customer. Mr. and Mrs. Customer, Eliana, I know that you've reached out and done your research, and you probably have 30 different dealerships calling you, and that's why you don't want to take a phone call. You're not trying to be sold. Good news is, I work in the customer care department, and I'm not trying to sell you. I just know that the questions that you've asked are going to create more questions when I answer them, and I want it to be efficient for you and quick. Would you mind giving me just a few moments on the phone? And you know what, Eliana, if you're not okay with that, that's all right. We can do it through email. Is this the best email for you to actually see the response that I send you? When you get a price objection on the phone, so I always tell BDCs and salespeople this, at the beginning of the month, go into the OEM site if you're a new car dealer and say, okay, I sell a Nissans right now. So versus start at this and go to this. This model starts at this and goes to this, starts at this and goes to this. Then look at the offers that the OEM is showing. If you live in a lease area, Cherry Hill's not a big lease area where dealers promote it, but hey, your competitors aren't. You should. So when you're in there, right, I'm going to have a little cheat sheet at my desk, and I'm going to be honest with the customer. Okay, you're looking for a price on this. It starts at this, it ends in this, depending on what trim level you're looking at. Have you already driven one? Do you want to look at the differences? Oh, you're looking for a payment? No problem. It's not a secret what the payment is, guys, because there's 500 payment calculators online. They're not actually asking you to give them a payment. They're asking you to confirm that the one they saw is real. So if I can reference what the OEM has registered, and I'd say it's better to do it in your store, but the market area you live in, dealerships aren't good about giving that information to their people. I know because I spend a lot of time there. So just be honest with the customer up front. It's best in a video with a little bit of text on the bottom to get them to engage. Otherwise, you're going to be fighting a losing battle forever. They ask for the price, give them the why choose you, the what their next steps are and the price, and just tell the customer, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, you're looking at a new car. The prices are going to be pretty similar everywhere. What you qualify is going to be pretty similar. So is your trade. So is the finance payment. But here's why you should choose to work with me. And if you would just give me a few moments, it'll actually save you time. And don't forget this part. I won't call you every day like the other dealerships will, and then don't. Because if they're not an immediate buyer and you're loading a Ferris wheel, you will get the opportunity to contact them, make them feel like you're doing them a favor because you are, okay? But I would do, but Leah, you're welcome to reach out to me for a more in-depth conversation about your exact roadblocks if you like.
All right. Leah says you're exactly right. Thank you so much. Your answers are so very helpful. Thank you, Leah. Great question. All right. Last one comes in from Chris, and this one's actually for me. He says, when will the webinar be available for replay? Yes, because you need to slow it down, right? Okay. The link is going out to all of you in just a few hours. So look for it. It'll be out before 5 p.m. Eastern time. You can also not even have to wait for the link. You can just go directly to DealerOn.com/webinar, and you'll be able to see the replay there as well. All right. It never goes away. Our replays never go away. So just go and find all of Bobbie Herron's replays. You'll see how brilliant she is. Thank you so much, Bobbie. Dude, I'm just so thrilled for you on top of everything. And you just always bring the fire when you come, man. You always, you are a rock star. Thank you so much for being here today and putting on yet another amazing DealerOn webinar. You're just the bomb diggity, and I just love you. Am I going to see you at NADA, by the way?
So possibly, yes. I'll be announcing details soon about my exact situation with NADA. The viewers, for you guys should give Eliana a shout out. You see how she's all dressed for football? If you weren't on in the very beginning when we were chatting before the recording started, like she's skipping the freaking parade thing that she was so excited about to be with us today. That's why she's all geared up like that. And letting me announce my straight Philly special move of opening a new company just out of nowhere. Just doing it. So thank you, Aliana, for making it happen for us today. I know you had to make a first.
I wouldn't be anyplace else, baby. I wouldn't. You know that. I love you. Hopefully I'll get to see you at NADA. Yes. Call me. All right. Thank you so much, Bobbie. Don't forget to move those slides forward. Fantastic presentation. I want to remind the audience, yes, a link to download a copy of this webinar recording is going to be emailed to you later today for your reference. Feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. It was a great one. Today's webinar is also going to be posted online within 24 hours. Go to DealerOn.com/webinars to view our upcoming webinar schedule or access any of our past webinars. Also, you're going to get a short survey, super short, shorty short, 3 questions, just 3. We want you to fill out that survey. We want to know what you thought of today's presentation, all right? And hey, are you losing valuable traffic because of a slow mobile website? That's no good. Google estimates that well over half your website traffic is coming from mobile devices, but don't you worry, because DealerOn now offers a mobile site speed test for free. All you have to do is get to that survey and give us your URL and let the magic begin. It's a great way to see how your site stacks up to the competition. And invitations will be going out tomorrow for our next DealerOn webinar. Ask Greg Gifford anything. What? Mark your calendars. We're using an entire hour or more to answer questions submitted by you, our registrants, live in a one-on-one discussion with DealerOn's Vice President of Search and Social, Greg Gifford. Nothing is off limits. We're going to cover it all. This incredible 1-hour session offers you the chance to ask your real-life, on-the-spot questions to the auto industry's SEO guru himself, Greg Gifford, where he'll going to give you straight talk and unedited feedback on any subject you throw at him. Greg will share detailed answers on all of your critical SEO questions. Search search and social is hard. So bring your checklist of challenges, your quirkiest questions, your confusing conundrums, and your most dizzying dilemmas to Greg Gifford and get his straight up best advice, tactics, insights, and brutally honest answers. That's faux show. Attendees of this unique presentation. Attendees of this unique presentation will learn the latest updates in Google's organic search results. Greg will also share the latest info on local SEO, what's changed, what's important, and how to optimize your site for better local visibility. Consider it Open Mic Thursday, and Greg Gifford has all your answers, but only if you're here to ask the questions. So if you're ready to ask Greg Gifford anything, then don't you dare miss this hour of automotive awesomeness. Register today. And don't forget, DealerOn's weekly webinars are held Thursdays, 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, or 9 a.m. Pacific. Now listen, for all of you left, and there's still a lot of you, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding the DealerOn webinars and our topics, hey, contact me directly. I'd love to hear from you, but you can find me everywhere. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. I'm on all the automotive social networks, you name it. Just email me directly. That's the easiest way. Eliana@DealerOn.com. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today. And I hope to see you all on another webinar in DealerOn's continuing education series. Take care. And go Eagles!
Hey, Eliana, real quick before you end it, if Patrick's still on, I just have to tell him I'm wearing this Lucky Macaroni necklace that you said I would never wear that you made for me. So check that out, boo.
Macaroni necklace. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. We'll see you at the next one.
Bye, guys.